minds because they drafted him in the first round because that guy was, you put him next to Chris Jones. I remember the lead up to the draft. You put Jerry Tillery next to Chris Jones, dominate offenses for the next 4 or 5 years. This guy is one of the most freak studs coming out of Notre Dame as a defensive tackle. His film just tossing offensive linemen aside and how quick and athletic he is, and he can even be like a, he can be a spy on an athletic quarterback. Well, I mean, he's amazing around here. He's probably the most important employee that we have.
Not this week, pal. This week, I told Curtis, I go, if we have any issues, we will be self-sufficient. I'm not asking Drake for any help.
Oh, it's not that deep.
Oh, it's deep, pal.
I need Drake on a daily basis. Are you kidding me?
We
This
do.
place falls apart without Drake.
And come Thursday, there's no choice. 'Cause I will be on vacation.
Oh,
Thursday
shoot.
and Friday.
Boom shaka to your laka right there. So you gotta talk with Drake down the line, right? As we'll be at
he's
Chicken
just
and
gonna
Pickle
cut my
Thursday and
mic.
Friday, especially Friday. Friday will be the big one because that'll be the day after, or he'll be very excited and he'll be gloating the whole time.
Oh, man, that's going to be tough.
It could be. According to you, it won't be tough.
No, it'll be easy.
According to you, the game won't be tough either.
Double-digit Mizzou win.
According to you, the game also not tough.
Double-digit. Lock it. Sterling
That's-
stamp.
Okay. Yeah. Well, 913-912-4810 is the text line to be a part of the show, part of the conversation. Adam Teicher an hour from now. Les Norman coming up at noon. Breaking the norm. We'll talk with him about this Royals team. Jack Caglione assigned to the minor league camp. J.J. Piccolo weighing in, saying he will start at Double-A. The plan is for Jack to play first base at Double-A. As his back continues, if he advances to Triple-A or when he advances to Triple-A, then they will start putting him in the outfield for what could be a debut with the Royals maybe later on this year. So that's the plan for Jack Caglione, but he'll go down to Double-A, start the season down in Double-A playing first base, and he will be quite the ticket. He will be someone that he'll be worth the price of admission for those in Northwest Arkansas. So, and then when he heads up to Omaha, that'll be fun as well for Jack Caglione. So we'll see what it looks like throughout the Double-A and Triple-A season. Hopefully the back continues to progress. And for me, at the big league level, if he makes his debut this year in right field, I don't really care about how good of a right fielder he is as long as the bat plays.
Yeah.
You know, the Manny Ramirez drive in more than you let in left field when he was out there.
Can we get a little Jeff Francoeur action where
that's fine.
it's
Frenchie.
just
amazing
the arm.
Amazing
just the arm.
Range doesn't have to be there. Amazing arm, but hit 30 bombs.
Here we go.
I'm saying 30 bombs from like August to the end of the season.
Of course.
30 bombs
Because
in 2 months.
he hit, what was it, 3 and 11 at bats. That's just good math.
We're just trying to do the math here. It's advanced analytics are all about math and
He
the
could
numbers.
be a left-handed Jose Guillen, but with a better attitude.
And way more home runs.
Yeah.
And someone that probably won't say bleep the fans. I'm going to guess Jack Caglione never says bleep the Royals fans wearing a Royals uniform. I'm
Okay.
I'm going to go out on a limb and say that does not happen for Jack Caglione. God, I hope not. Then something went really wrong.
Something went
really wrong.
wrong.
So we'll talk with Les Norman coming up at noon. And then another region in our bracket of sound that we will release in the 1 o'clock hour today. So one more region we will release. And then tomorrow, the final 2 regions in the bracket of sound as the NCAA tournament gets underway with the play-in games. Some people think it does. Some people think it doesn't get underway. Look, we're watching tournament games. Somebody will be eliminated tonight. 2 teams will be eliminated tonight. It's Texas and Xavier playing in the play-in game. That'll be the second game, and that'll be right here on Sports Radio 810 WHB, courtesy Westwood One of the Texas and Xavier matchup. Tomorrow will be San Diego State and North Carolina. That'll be playing. I mean, it's unfortunate. Why can't we just get North Carolina tonight? Just get it over with, whether they win or lose. Just get to that. You know, why do we have to take this break? And then tomorrow night, we'll reignite the conversation again on into Thursday if they win. I hope not. If they win on Wednesday, you know what? It's probably best. You know what? I retract my statement. If they played tonight and won, then Wednesday we'd be talking about that. They play tomorrow night and win. Thursday, who gives a bleep? We're talking about the NCAA tournament and the teams they're already in. I retract my statement now that I've given it a second thought. It's a good thing that...
I dumped it, so...
Can we fix that in post?
Yeah, I will.
Thank you very much. The podcast, that will not be on there. We'll just start from here. So again, Texas and Xavier tonight on Sports Radio 810 WHB. That game around 8:15. What the first game is, and I'm trying to think if these are Central Time or not. No, the first game is at 5:40 tonight. So 5:40 on a little True TV with Alabama State and St. Francis. And then around 8:10, that's right, is when Texas and Xavier will be. What a great time to start a game. 8:10, just fantastic time to start a game. So that'll be that game tonight right here on Sports Radio 810 WHB. And a bracket of sound, a region we will release later on in the show. Sterling, I know that you were wondering about this yesterday as we were talking about the Drake and Mizzou matchup, and them being the sexy pick, Drake to pull off the upset. By overselling it, yes, or at least saying that like everybody, so you may get this right, or you may think it's more of an exaggeration or more extreme, I should say, than it actually is. But 17 different experts I looked at last night in their brackets to see what they had with Drake and Mizzou. It was somewhat split. It was a lot more Kansas than Arkansas. I'll say that. A lot more people believe in Kansas than Arkansas, whether Boogie Fland plays or not, and how many minutes he plays.
Yeah.
And I do love the comment from John Calipari, which is just so perfectly John Calipari. And I do wonder how many Arkansas fans are like hearing it for the first time. And it's like, dude, I've heard that about 30,000 times. And it's so perfectly John Calipari about Boogie Fland. But anyway, 17 different experts with their brackets that are out there. Of the 17, how many have Drake winning in the first round?
Of the 17.
Of the 17 brackets that are out there that I looked at, how many have Drake winning in the first round?
I'll go 11.
11? Dylan, you want to throw a dart?
I'll go 13.
Boy, you take you guys and divide it by 2, nailed it. 12. 12 of the 15.
Good job, Dylan.
Well done. Here are the 12 that, whether it matters or not, this is just one person's opinion. Like I said, I don't give advice on brackets because the last time I did, I told somebody in 2011 to take UConn out of their Final Four because they had just won 5 games in a row in the Big East tournament, and they're not going to then win 4 games in 2 weekends. It's not going to happen. They are exhausted. They won 1 game in the final 2.5 weeks of the season, UConn. They got lucky. They got hot in the Big East tournament. They ain't going to go to the Final Four. Take that team out of your Final Four. Never given advice on a pick. 16 seed, whatever. I don't care. You got a 16 seed going to the Elite Eight? Great. Pick them. I don't know that that's going to happen or not. I'm certainly not going to tell you not to do that because if it happens, I would feel like a fool. If it doesn't happen, oh, well, it's a bracket. Nobody's getting a perfect bracket anyway, and odds are you're not going to win your bracket contest.
We all 3 are this year.
I hope so.
Even with different brackets, we're somehow all 3 going to be correct.
It is weird. We live in a simulation. So here are the 12 that picked Drake. Gary Parrish, Matt Norlander, Jerry Palm, Kyle Boone, Mike DeCourcy, C.J. Moore, Dennis Dodd, Salerno, Brennan Marks, Bill Bender, Seth Davis, and Dick Vitale. Picked Drake to win. The 5 that picked Mizzou to win: Chip Patterson, David Cobb, Vinny Iyer, Jay Billis, and Myron Metcalf. Picked Mizzou to win.
Oh, Myron.
And that's why we have Myron on. I mean, that's why it's just like we have the
Stockholm
people that just,
syndrome, yeah.
right. I mean, just
He knows ball.
He knows ball. He's got Kansas knocking off Arkansas, and he's got Missouri knocking off Drake. His bracket is the same as mine in that he has St. John's and Texas Tech matching up in the Sweet 16.
Bad call.
That might be. Might be a bad call. I would love it. I would love for us next week. How amazing would it be next week if on Monday we start the show talking about a preview of a Sweet 16 matchup in San Francisco between Missouri and Kansas?
So I'm almost just rooting for that too. So part of me just goes,
well, because it would be Missouri's in the second weekend. I don't care who they play in the second weekend they got there.
Electric. No,
same for Kansas, by the way.
Well, yeah, absolutely. We're talking about 2 teams that Missouri entering the season.
Begging to get to next weekend.
Missouri entering the season. Can they Can they compete in the SEC? Can they
Yes,
compete
they
for a,
can.
Yes, and they can.
Yes, they can.
They can compete in the SEC. They can get a bid to the NCAA tournament. And Kansas, as the season's gone along, it's like, well, if they're both in the second weekend, just didn't expect them to, if they both get to the second weekend, to be matched up against each other. And the great part about that, it's an easy place you could drive. It's drivable. Okay, not San Francisco, but whatever. You know, it may be a little expensive for people to go and watch
From
that matchup.
Tahoe, it's drivable.
That's exactly right. My wife and I did that trip back in 2015, when she came to Tahoe with me, and then we left Tahoe, took the next week off, and we drove to San Francisco.
It's actually
that was nice.
Yeah.
Except for the mountains at top and how it's like a little white knuckle.
For sure.
I'm not a fan
You're like,
of heights.
I didn't know I was driving to Denver today.
Yeah,
But
I'm not a fan of heights, and like driving around those curves, I'm like, this road is a little too skinny for two lanes. This doesn't make sense. This seems like it should be like a half lane road. I don't know. I don't think this is a safest travel. And how are there not
Like it should
thousands
be in Europe,
of cars?
and the cars match
Yeah.
the road.
Yeah,
Where this is like these cars aren't fit.
Yeah, how are there like not thousands of cars down there?
Right.
Like I don't get it. But anyway, it was a pretty drive if you are not incredibly scared of heights like I am. So, but yeah, that'll be in San Francisco if that happens. But 12-5, I don't know what that means. I mean, it's a sexy upset pick, but it's interesting because a lot of the analytics that I look at and some of the like most likely percentage chance upsets doesn't have Missouri Drake near the top of that. In fact, the most likely upset is Colorado State over Memphis.
Colorado
which
State is
they're
the
favored
favorite
in that game.
Yeah.
They're favored in that game. I've got Colorado State winning as well. They're favored in that game. Ken Pom has them like 20 spots, 30 spots higher than Memphis in their ranking. And also, Vinny Iyer at Sporting News, I believe he's with. A lot of his picks were through Ken Pom. He was looking at Ken Pom top 10 efficiency, offense, defense, all these different things and teams and most likely upsets and everything based on Ken Pom. And he didn't have Drake and Missouri up there. And in fact, he went through the top 10 underseeded teams based on Ken Pom, where their seed was based on where they are in Ken Pom. Number 2 was Mizzou. And number 3 overseeded was Drake, based on whether Ken Pom and them being 11 seed was Drake. So that's why he didn't have in this top 8 of like most likely upsets, like he didn't have Drake in there. Of the 6-11 upset possibilities, Missouri Drake was the lowest.
That's why I said.
But of the 6-11, Missouri Drake is the highest among the people that are picking their brackets in percentage of them pulling off an upset.
I just think people see the 30 next to Drake and they automatically think, oh, wow, they're underseeded. I get the 30 is going to look very impressive. What they've done is incredible. I'm taking nothing away from Drake. They've earned this. Again, you know my thoughts. I think even if they would have lost in their conference championship game, I think they still should have gotten in over a team like UNC, Texas, Oklahoma.
Mm-hmm.
That being said, this is a horrible matchup for Drake. And I actually like that the majority of the pundits are choosing Drake.
Yeah.
That's a comforting feeling of that's the fun upset pick. You think the Missouri players aren't hearing that? You think Dennis Gates isn't telling those guys saying, hey, you went through the gauntlet of the SEC.
Yeah.
Look at the teams you beat. You know that team that's a 1 seed? You know how you went into their place and beat them? Yeah, they think Drake's better than you. They think Drake, you're the underdogs here. I think Missouri comes out. They're going to play hard with fire. Again, it comes down to any given game. It's March Madness. Can Missouri lose? Yes. But I am taking Missouri by double digits in this one. And that's not even me being a bit at this point. I'm being serious.
913-912-4810. We'll talk with Adam Teicher, 11 o'clock. Les Norman coming up at noon. This will be man annoyed at man yelling at cloud. Right? If you follow that. Man being annoyed at man who's yelling at cloud.
Okay.
Dan Shaughnessy in the Boston Globe writes this morning, I didn't get a chance to read it because it's behind a paywall, and I'll pay for a paywall of things that I'm going to read often, like Kansas City Star. I'll do the pay because I read that daily, so I'm going to pay for that subscription. I'm not paying for the Boston Globe. So I didn't read it. But I can imagine what it said as the headline is, the NCAA tournament used to be great, now it's just professional basketball. And I just wonder, like, for those that are going to be watching it on Thursday, is it really going to affect your watching
Well, Dan won't be, and I'm sure
I bet
he won't tweet. Make sure Dan
That's
doesn't
true.
tweet anything about the NCAA
I bet he
tournament.
was pissed watching the Celtics win the championship because that's professional basketball,
Exactly.
and he's not
Yeah,
a fan of
exactly.
the professional stuff. Doesn't make it
And if
enjoyable. It doesn't make it great.
If Boston College was the leader in NIL and they were the one seed of
or
the East
UMass
region,
is there.
exactly.
Oh, amazing! It'd be awesome.
Why is it always a guy from Boston? It's
Bo-
like
well,
always
here's
a
the other
dude
thing,
from
too.
Boston.
Boston really doesn't have a college team that participates in big these events, like the college football playoff or the NCAA tournament regularly.
Yeah, I mean they had
Last time they did was Cal.
Yeah, mid '90s with Cal, and back when NIL was illegal, but
Like St. John's is that
jewelry
team,
and
they're
stuff.
New York.
Jewelry gets you a Final Four vacated, and now jewelry is the opening conversation. Jewelry
get to a Final Four. Yeah.
Jewelry is the handshake even to get the conversation with the kid for the NIL. that's just to get in the door. Here's my gift. Here's my gift just to have a conversation with you about NIL to come to my school.
I'll say it. I don't get jewelry. I don't get why people
then
wear
you know
jewelry.
what? Then you know what? Then maybe your wife should spend a little bit more money on you. You don't get jewelry. Interesting. Does your wife get jewelry?
Yeah.
I hope so.
Yeah.
I hope so.
Your wife's going to hear that and be like, oh, so I can just buy all this stuff now.
Just need to
and
buy
then
him jewelry. He said he
have-
doesn't
have
don't-
maybe the worst
I don't
explanation of
get
all
it.
time. And
He
it
was
worked.
so disappointed that I don't get jewelry.
Well, I don't get it though. Like I'm trying to play a sport. Like
you don't
why do Dylan? You're a baseball.
You don't even wear
Off
your
the
wedding
rails.
ring. You don't
I
even wear your
do.
wedding.
It's on.
It's
It's
crazy.
on.
You
Dylan-
always take it off when we're on TV. You just take the wedding ring off immediately. It's
On
weird.
Sunday sound off on TV.
Immediately you
immediately
take it
take it off. Dylan, you're a baseball guy.
weird.
Off the rail. I don't actually do that, Dylan.
I would hope not.
Why do baseball players wear chains and necklaces? It's just going to hit you in the face.
Part of the swag,
Nah,
man.
and you keep it tucked in,
part of
and
the
that's kind
swag,
of the
dude.
part football.
But
every sport does
why?
it.
Because it's part of the
Part of the
swag.
swag.
Because they want to do it. It's
Because
their
guess what? They can
personality.
afford it.
I can,
Personality.
you can for a lot of things. That doesn't mean I'm going to wear it while I'm playing an athletic game.
Well,
Well, when you get to
sport.
that level, let me know what your mindset is when you're
I
at
am-
that level
but-
and you make that money, and then you're on the field.
I would
and,
buy
you
a
know,
I would buy a car. I would buy
They
I
do
don't
that
know
too.
nicer
Houses,
groceries.
I don't
groceries.
get
I
it.
would-
Why do you need a nicer car? I mean, you're just going
I
from
would
A to
I would
B
make
anyway.
sure I'm maxing out my Roth IRA. I don't know. I don't need. I don't get necklace.
What
I don't.
if you
I
can
don't
do
get
all
it.
of those things?
I don't get it.
It is surprising that Sterling has different tastes than other people. Like,
Also,
it's surprising
Sterling-
everybody has their own
Some
sort
of those
tastes.
are fake for that reason.
Some CZs.
Yeah.
Out
But it's
there.
even worse. Why would you have a fake necklace?
Hey, there's a lot of
I
people
don't know,
with,
man.
There's a lot of people with fake juice out there on the field too. Willie Gay's bringing the real juice. A lot of people with fake juice out there. But yeah, I mean,
We'll never get it.
It's part of the swag. You go out there. You know what? You look good. You feel good. You play good.
Yep.
But do you look good wearing that? That's
Yes,
my
I think a
question.
lot
I
of-
don't.
I think
know.
some of them look pretty cool.
I was gonna say, yeah.
I think some of them look pretty cool wearing the necklaces, hitting home runs, and trotting.
Back in
trotting
my
around.
day, what would look cool was a Nelly Band-Aid across your face. You can get that at
I never actually
Like
got
a
into
CVS.
never understood
I don't
that.
think
so,
I did that.
So you don't
I don't
like
get
the
it
cool?
either.
Okay, so
I was gonna say,
I didn't get it either, but
this
least it was-
jewelry that these
at least it was
professional
cheap.
athletes are wearing, like it's younger man yells at clouds now with it's Andy Rooney over here. I don't get the necklaces that people wear anymore. Back in my day, we didn't wear jewelry around when we were playing baseball. I remember playing sandlot baseball with my friends. We didn't even have watches. We played in jeans, rolled up our jeans, because we were working hard.
at least watches have a purpose. You can tell time.
Not these necklaces that get in the way. So anyway,
Where were we?
Dan Shaughnessy, NCAA tournament used to be great. Now it's professional basketball. I really do wonder, like, in your heart of hearts, like, even if you have that feeling of like, well, it's not the same as it used to be. Like on Thursday, when the first game tips off, I think that's Louisville and Creighton. When that first game tips off, are you going to go, this is stupid, man. Chucky Hepburn is making a little money for Louisville. Kalkbrenner's probably making more money. Kalkbrenner's getting on top of his paid tuition to Creighton. Like he's getting a little change as well. Like he can afford jewelry. I know Sterling's pissed off about it, but like he can like this. I don't really know that I want to watch this game because these guys that guy may drive a Honda Accord, and he was going to drive a Civic if it wasn't for, nothing wrong with the Civic, but he was going to drive a Civic if it wasn't for the NIL.
Reliable.
And now he's driving an Accord. Like, kind of changes my viewing experience, if you ask me. Like, who's actually you got your bracket, you got player pools, you got all of those things. You're ready to go. But like this thought that, well, I'm just going to complain about it. It's the same thing as people complaining about West Virginia the last couple of days and the dumb governor in West Virginia that's wasting everybody's time and doing his performance art. They're speaking to people about the corruption in the NCAA. It's interesting, a politician speaking about corruption somewhere else. I feel like maybe you should make your own bed. Maybe look at your bed. I'm just saying, you're standing there yelling about how dirty somebody's house is, and behind you, it's all trashed. It's like, that person, look at their house over there. It's absurd. And then behind you, like, you've got shingles falling. The roof is all messed up. You've got bricks missing from your fireplace.
Money pit.
Yeah, exactly. It's money pit. You've got spaces, just areas of, like, dead grass in your front yard. It's like, look at that house over there. They can't keep up their house. This is absurd.
That's the guy that calls the HOA. That's the guy that calls the HOA. Guarantee. He's the HOA president, actually.
NCAA, you can't park your car on the street here. Just letting you know, NCAA, your car parked on the street, that's actually not allowed. I'm just letting you know, you can move it, but next time, we are going to need you to not park on the street. Thank you. Appreciate it. Just let the owner of the house know that you've been notified. Appreciate. I'm Dan. I'll let you know if you need anything else. But we really aren't supposed to park our cars here. It's part of the HOA. Thank you. Bye-bye.
The one thing I slightly understand is if you're used to seeing the same guys play at your university for 4 years and you're used to seeing them grow within, I get there's a little maybe less investment for some people. Now, I'm not saying me personally. I mean, this was awesome for Missouri. I don't care that Caleb Grill transferred 2 years ago.
Okay, that Mark Mitchell was at Duke last year.
Mark Mitchell, I'm thrilled by that, right? Yeah. Because it helps give your team a chance. It helps that any given season, if you're a K-State fan, down year this year, okay, Coleman Hawkins is now off the books. You now have more money to
I bet Florida's pretty excited about Rick Pitino finding Walter Clayton at St. John's a few years ago.
Yeah.
And now Florida has Walter Clayton as one of the best players in the tournament.
And so you can look at it multiple different ways, but I understand some of the older fan bases sometimes, or older people who are like, well, I was used to seeing my team get the same guy for 4 years. You get invested in those certain players. I understand that argument. But when it comes to actually watching March Madness, my view and experience will not be any different. I will be as thrilled and locked in as ever. I just get that personal, maybe alumni touch or something like that.
And part of my complaint to the complaint is also like, now it's professional basketball. Oh, you think it just became professional? But you think college athletics just now became professional because the players are getting more than the college? You think now coaches have been making 8 figures? Yeah. The ADs.
Y'all were chewing out these players online before they got paid.
100%, man. Oh, these guys. I had to pay student loans.
Yeah, exactly.
I didn't get a free college education. These guys are getting student. Go out there and play hard, man. This guy's lazy as hell just out there. He's getting a free education. That's money. He's getting paid for that. Coaches, the buyouts for coaches,
as Dabo said,
tens of millions of dollars for the coaches. The conferences moving, breaking apart long-standing historical decades, century rivalries for more money. Yet now it's professional. Now it's a professional. We see professional teams move all the time because of this stadium or this city isn't giving this a tax breaks because they want more money and a better deal.
Look
That's
at Oakland,
professional.
Oakland
Right.
Athletics.
That's professional. And we see teams moving conferences all the time. Missouri moved from the Big 12 to the SEC. They were unhappy with the treatment in the Big 12, but they also are getting a bigger check in the SEC, so let's also call it what it is. Yeah. Nebraska left the Big 12 for the Big 10. Well, you know what? We can no longer have, partial qualifiers at Nebraska, and we're not happy about Texas coming in and trying to control things. So, you know what? The Big 10 wants us. It's a better one. It's a AAU conference. We'll just go there. It's all good. We feel better. That's when it's a bigger check. Well, yeah, that's what professional sports does as well. And coaches getting lots of money, and then buyouts. It's been professional for a long time. The difference is now the players are getting a little change.
It's not a high school coach where you're the math teacher and you're just helping out.
Yes. I mean, I am extremely excited and happy for Ben McCollum that he can go from. I think he was hired on April 1st for Drake. Maybe April 2nd, April 1st is Fool's Day, so let's go April 2nd or April 3rd. And he's one of the leading candidates right now in Vegas to be the Indiana head coach. Like, he might go from, I don't know what his salary was at Northwest Missouri State. I don't think it was $10. I don't think it was 7 figures. But he could go from what he was making in Maryville, Missouri, to making $5 or $6 million per year in 12 months.
Dude.
Last year at this time, he was the head coach of Northwest Missouri State in the NCAA Division II tournament.
Kids, never give up your dreams.
And in a couple of weeks, he could be making $5 million a year being the Indiana head coach. Like, that's a meteoric ascension and a meteoric rise. But it's professional.
Do you take that job?
Yeah, I take the Indiana job. Now, mainly because it's life-changing money. I mean, so I take the Indiana job. They're going to pay you.
You probably can.
They're
going to
pay
you.
years.
Also a blue blood.
Yeah, but
agreed.
They also believe that they are yearly Duke or Kentucky.
That's my point.
Or North Carolina,
they're irrational.
or Kansas.
I have Indiana.
That,
you know my family. I have a lot of Southern. There's a lot of people who I know who are irrational.
Yeah.
It's like Nebraskan football, how they still think that they are
Tom Osborne. And
it's absurd. Indiana still thinks that they every single year it's we got this guy, we're Duke, we're KU, they're just not. They're irrational.
No, I'm with you, and then you got to deal with Dan Dockich, so I don't know if that's really the best thing as well. I don't know, is that worth the money? Probably not. But I do think, like I've argued with with like when we were talking about is UConn a blue blood, I'm like, if they're not a blue blood, then what is?
Yeah.
If we're talking about like blue bloods and historically, they've won national championships with 3 different coaches in this century. Yeah. UConn has won a national championship with 3 different coaches in this century. And if we're talking about blue bloods, what the hell has Indiana done? Like, if we can only have like a certain number, like it's a 1 in, 1 out, well, then Indiana might have to leave the room if it means that UConn needs to be there.
Yeah, but they had a movie with Jimmy in it. Did UConn have a movie?
I don't know. I'm not sure. I'd have to look back to see if they had a movie or not. But I can't wait for the tournament to get started tonight, or if people think it starts Thursday. Either way, it's fantastic. On the other side of the break, I do want to ask the question, because this bottom left part of your bracket that has Bill Self and John Calipari and Rick Pitino, and also in that same region out west, you've got the back-to-back national championship UConn and the best bleeping coach in the sport in Dan Hurley. Just ask him. You've got that there. You've got some younger coaches as well along the way, but coaches in this Final Four, coaches and things like that. I want to ask this question on the other side, and we don't have to spend a lot of time on it, but of all the coaches in the tournament right now, you've got your team getting ready to start the tournament. Who do you choose? Not building a program, not recruiting, not building a team. You've got your team set. This is the coach I'm choosing to coach my team over what could be the next 3 weeks. We'll take a timeout. We'll come back. More Zone next. Sterling Holmes, Dylan Michaels. So mad at myself last night in the player pool draft that we had with Seren and Curtis. Corey Anderson, a part of the player pool.
Nice.
Yeah, that's right.
Your favorite co-host.
Yeah, by a long shot. Woo! I like all of my children.
Well, you guys are brothers.
I love all my children the same. Now, do I have a favorite? Ask me on a certain day.
After a couple of cold ones.
No. If you have multiple kids, what I have found is once we had our first child, Everett, I didn't think there was a chance I could love and feel connected to another child the way that I love and felt connected to him. But then we had Juliet. I'm like, oh my God, this is what people talk about. Like, there is this
true.
It's amazing. There's exact love that I don't have. No, exact love that you feel like for both of them. But it's like, which is your favorite? Depends on the day. Depends on the day.
You go, it's favorite.
That's why they say we don't have a favorite, because at the end it kind of all equals out.
It can
like
all even out.
Days,
Yes. Ooh, 1 week it's 4-3. The next week it's 4-3. The other. It's we got an 8 to. It's a 7 to 7.
Jason,
it's 2 weeks, so you don't have 1 week.
I still finished in second, but
Oh, I finished in 5th. We only had 4 kids.
Yeah,
There's only 4 of us, and I still ended up 5th.
I was 3rd. I was an only child.
Yeah.
You can't say favorite without Everett, though.
It.
See?
or Juliet, right?
Yes, thank you. Yeah, they both end with et, like favorite, Juliet, Everett. You dumbat. So we did the player poll last night. We're talking about Colorado State and Memphis, and I'm so mad at myself because I waited one round too long to get somebody that I wanted, because I wanted Nick Clifford from Colorado State, because I've got Colorado State going to the Sweet 16, and he's averaging 19 points per game. And I'm like waiting in I think it's the third or fourth round. I'm like, all right, I'm like 2 picks away, and like 2 picks ahead of me is like, is this guy available? No, he's been taken. What about this guy? No, dude, he's been taken already. We're like 3 rounds in, man. Come on, dude. This is going to get bad. We got 20 selections if you're already. What about this guy? No, he's been taken, man. He's not there. What about Nick Clifford? He's available. No, he's not. You can't name 6 different guys and then take a guy that you don't even know his name. You can't have Nick Clifford. Anyway. That happens every year with the player pool. It's just like every other draft. Oh, man, I can't believe you took my guy in the 7th round that I was really waiting to draft. I was 2 picks away from taking this guy in the 7th round.
And now take him in the 6th.
Now my whole draft is screwed. I did get Caleb Grill in the 9th round, though. So 11 people in 9th round. You do the math. How many players were selected for? I'm like, you know what? I think it's time to pull the trigger. I think it's time to go ahead and take Caleb Grill.
We got Caleb Love.
That was an earlier draft. I think
that might be like a top 5 rounder.
Yeah, that was I had the 4th pick in the draft, and I ended up getting Walter Clayton. I didn't expect, because I got Florida winning it all.
Nice.
I'm like, I didn't think he'd be there at pick number 4. So I was excited about because that was my number 1 guy on it was Cooper Flagg and Walter Clayton, but I'm like, if Cooper Flagg is a guy that I probably would have taken Con Knippel. If Walter Clayton was taken, I'd have taken Con Knippel with my pick at number 4. He made it to all the way to number 9 for Curtis. And I'm like, dude, Knippel, with Cooper Flagg out, Knippel had like 20 points per game.
Well done there, K-Dog.
Yes.
Damn.
I couldn't believe it. I'm like, I kind of feel like I want to be in K-Dog's spot, because
I'm staring at him right now.
He gets the boomerang on the other side. He gets a quicker second round
pick. Oh, that's right, the snake.
Yeah, and he gets I'm like, that's a hell of a pick, man. All right, so who are we picking for the coach that we have to coach our team through the tournament? The teams are essentially this. Like, we're not going to go, well, we're a fast break team, or we like to slow it down, so we play, the pack line defense. So I think I'm going to choose Tony Bennett, because it's pack line defense already, and so I want the best coach out there. We run a high-low offense, so give me Bill Self. So I want to do it. No, it's just so you got your team and the coaches that are in the NCAA tournament right now.
Yeah.
So you can't pick DeVries because he didn't make the tournament. West Virginia's not in, so you can't pick him. No reason for me to say that. I apologize. Who you going?
I'll let Dylan go first, because I know who Dylan's going to go with, and I don't want to throw his name because I think it's a good one.
I'm going to go Tom Izzo.
Yeah.
Because
that's a pretty legit one. So Dylan hates Bill Self is what we're going with. Dylan chooses Izzo over Self.
No. Like we said with children, we have different days. Favorites are on different days. They all equal out. But no, I'm just used to a Hall of Fame coach, so I'll take a Hall of Fame coach in Tom Izzo, because, again, he'll overachieve. more so than lose a couple games that he shouldn't be losing.
I always joke around with Tom Izzo, and we'll have Adam Teicher on at 11 o'clock. But, I joke from a place of envy that I always say that, Tom Izzo, he's going to win you 4 games in the tournament. He'll never win 5. I mean, the guy can't win. You win 2 weekends in a row, he won't win a game in the third weekend. He's like, he's 15%, 150 winning percentage in the national semifinal. He'll win you 4 games, but he ain't going to win you 5. As someone whose team has never won 4 games in a tournament.
Yeah.
So what I wouldn't give for a coach one time to win 4 games in one tournament, that would be great. But Tom Izzo is a heck of a selection because I think there's I've got Michigan State in my Final Four. So because of Tom Izzo.
Yeah.
Right.
And I know Bruce Pearl, is a Final Four coach as well, but that stage in Atlanta, Elite Eight, all on the line, I'll go with the team that is coached by Izzo over Pearl, and Pearl's a great coach too. So I'll go Izzo on that one as well. Sterling, who are you going with?
This was tough. If I want to get calls on the floor, I'm going Bruce Pearl because he seemingly will just get in the ref's face, and then all of a sudden the ref goes, "Well, we can't make Bruce Pearl unhappy. Look how red his face is."
Well, if you want that
he might
guy,
pass out.
If you want that guy, it might be Porter Moser. Good God, has Porter Moser ever seen another team not commit a foul, and has Porter Moser's team ever committed a foul? I'm not sure either. I don't remember him being like that with Loyola, by the way. I don't remember him being a madman screaming and yelling the entire game, looking like he's looking for a tip because he just got your car from valet while screaming and yelling about everything. Sorry, Todd, but that's just an annoying coach. Let me just say, I appreciate the fact that the 3 local coaches that we get to watch, Bill Self will get upset from time to time, but he's typically more low-key. Jerome Tang, obviously. Yeah, Jerome Tang, low-key. Dennis Gates looks like he's probably comatose at times on the sideline because he's just watching and looking, and he's very
gives you the
subdued.
hey. He goes, hey, come here. It's the hey, come here. Well, let's talk about this.
I will say last year, late in the season, Dennis Gates got way more animated and frustrated, as you can see, like everything was building and the stress and all of that stuff.
The culmination.
This year, Dennis Gates looks like year 1 Dennis Gates.
Yeah.
Back to that guy that doesn't pick up technical. What did he pick up, like 3 technicals last year? Like he doesn't get technical fouls. And so, that's a good one. Bruce Pearl, if I want the call. But anyway, go ahead with your actual one.
And so, gone back and forth with this a few times. The runner-up for me was Chris Beard.
Interesting. Yeah.
Chris Beard, because every place that he has gone, he's done a really good job, turned it around. I think Chris Beard can clearly coach. I can't believe I'm saying this.
Just say it. Just say it. Just say it. You want to say it. Just say it.
I think I'm going Dan Hurley still.
Oh, I'm sorry. I didn't know that's who you were going to. I thought you were going to say Bill Self.
No, I know. He's in there too. A lot of great coaches. It's hard to not go Dan Hurley, the guy, back to back. I mean, I just think Dan Hurley's a really, really good coach.
He's the best bleeping coach in the game.
I can't stand him. Like, I can't stand Dan Hurley. I think he's obnoxious.
But he's the best bleeping coach in the game, if you ask him. The best bleeping coach in the game.
I think he's really good. I think Dan Hurley's a really, really good coach.
They've won 12 consecutive tournament games. That's pretty good. 12 consecutive wins in 2 years in the tournament. That's
it's hard to go against
for sure.
The current numbers, I guess.
The current back-to-back champion. Mine came down to 2 choices. And
I know who you're going with. They're going to.
I mean, who do you think I'm?
I made sure I didn't say Bill Self or Patino.
That's exactly the 2 choices that I had. Those are the absolute 2 choices that it came to. And to me, it's a coin flip between those 2. I think they're the 2 best coaches in the game. I decided 50.1 to 49.9 Patino, because I think he's one of, if not the best, in-game coaches that I've seen. There are a lot of coaches. Just because somebody is a great in-game coach doesn't mean the other one sucks. I think Bill Self is a good in-game coach, but Patino has watching him coach and maneuver and adjustments and rotations and different guys that somehow this guy comes in late and starts hitting shots. Like Cal's one of the worst in-game coaches.
Yeah,
Calipari. Like with the 3 coaches there on the bottom left-hand side of your bracket, if I were to pick a coach to build a roster of talent and just talent, attract the most talent you can, well, then that's Calipari. If I want a coach to win one game, that's Rick. But if I'm choosing a coach to run my program overall for the longevity, it's Bill.
Yeah.
And that's where sort of like beauty is in the eye of the beholder of what coach you hire for your team.
And the best overall coach is the guy from Omaha. Shockingly. I was being a dumbass because there's the
I see what you're saying.
fourth team in the
like,
in that lower left corner.
I'm like, bleep, I don't even know. I don't know that I know his name.
I didn't.
Like,
that's why I just said
should I know
coach
his
from
name?
Omaha.
Oh, it's Chris Crutchfield. Yeah, that's right. Like I know it. I think I'm going Pitino, but it's like 50.1 to 49.9 to Bill Self because, Pitino's got a couple national titles. Bill Self has a couple national titles. Bill Self's obviously much more recent than Pitino's. Pitino in the 90s with Kentucky and then 2013 with Louisville. And obviously Bill Self in 08 and 22, so more recent. But you're talking about multi-national championship winning coaches, whether that be Dan Hurley or Bill Self or Rick Pitino. It's still shocking to me that Izzo only has one.
Yeah.
With how many times he's been in that position. But I think that's part of what Dylan was saying is the man can overachieve. Like he'll play past to what his seed would be. And then it's like, well, yeah, but he loses in the Final Four. Right, but Patrick Mahomes lost in the Super Bowl. But is it better if he lost in the AFC Championship game so that he didn't lose in the Super Bowl? It's like, Jim Calhoun was 3 for 3 in winning a national championship and going to the Final Four. Go to the Final Four, he'd win it. Go to the Final Four, he'd win it. Wouldn't go all the time. Izzo would go more often, go to the Final Four, and he'd win it until 2008 or 9 when he had Hasheem to beat and that beat Missouri in the Elite Eight. They didn't win it that year.
Before Mahomes, Brady had to deal with the Montana and Bradshaw.
Brady's 3-2. He'll never be Joe Montana. Brady's 3-2 in the Super Bowl. He'll never be Joe. Joe is 4-0. It can't happen.
Right.
Even if Brady gets to 5, he'd still be 5-2 as opposed to 4-0 Joe Montana. Cannot happen. Like Izzo is a guy that I know he lost to Hampton as a 2 seed. And I know that because I took Denzel Valentine in the first round of my player pool, and they lost in the first round, and that sucked. That sucked really, really bad. My player pool was over because that was like the second game of the tournament on Thursday. It was a 2-seed Michigan State and Hampton. Sorry, Adam Teicher, if you're listening. I don't want to bring back those memories, but Denzel Valentine, it was a rough one. But yeah, I like my second pick this year was actually Jace Richardson of Michigan State, which I'm pumped about because since he's got to Michigan State, I mean, this year and like he's been awesome. Like last 3 games, he's averaged 4 or 5 games. He's averaging like 20 points per game. I've got Michigan State going to the Final Four. I actually like my player pool this year, which means I'm going to finish last. Totally going to finish last. It's the team that you hate that always wins. So we got Izzo, Dan Hurley, and Rick Self, and Bill Pitino. But ultimately Rick Pitino. So none of us, clearly, we all hate Bill Self is really the takeaway from this segment, especially Dylan.
No.
Missouri should have gone with Bill.
It could be considered chalk for me.
Yeah,
Rock
it's a good
chalk.
point.
Wow,
nice
I
job.
had to do it. I had to be that punny.
It
but
would
yes.
be rock chalk for Dylan to take Bill Self. That's exactly right. Sterling, I'm surprised you didn't take Dennis Gates, who apparently is going to win his first round game like a 1 seed over a 16.
Welcome to the gates of hell, boys.
Yeah, Patine, no way he's going to lose. Sorry, I was just trying to figure out. It's so bad.
Thank you. Everyone will forget mine now.
Is so bad of all 3 of those. More zone next, maybe. going back to 1920. And every single Chiefs game going back to 1942. I think is.
I'm letting him know you said that.
1942 was the first Kansas City Chiefs game that he watched was in 1942. It's a great game. Historic 1942 Chiefs season. We'll talk some NFL football. The Kansas City Chiefs. Adam Teicher from ESPN joining us here in the zone, our Michigan State insider. So we'll talk some Chiefs in a little bit, but of course we got to get the all of the inside information on Michigan State and Sparty getting ready for their tournament run. Adam Teicher joining us. Adam, how are you, sir?
Good, Jason. How you doing today?
I am doing just fine. Are you pumped about being up at 9 o'clock on Friday that Michigan State gets the last game of the opening round of the tournament?
Yeah, against Bryant. How
Against
about that?
Bryant.
I had to look up what Bryant was. I thought it was a heating and cooling company or something like that. So,
It might be. It might be.
So I had to do a little research on Bryant for sure.
Yeah. I guess technically the 9:25 UConn and Oklahoma is the final game of the week of the opening round. But still, Michigan State, they tip off 20 minutes before that. And who knows, if the game before them goes longer, they might be the last one to tip off.
Oh, yeah. I think they can count on that.
Marquette, New Mexico.
It's probably going to be closer to 10 than 9 for sure. And that's the game's in Cleveland, so I think it might be starting in Cleveland right around 11 o'clock.
Yeah. Marquette and New Mexico might be one of the more entertaining games with teams that get up and down the floor. So, yeah, if you're a Michigan State fan and you're going to Cleveland, that first game of the session is going to be wildly entertaining. And then Michigan State. How do you feel about the Spartans? I'll let you know. Michigan State's in my Final Four. I've got them coming out and knocking off. I flipped a coin between A&M and Auburn, and it landed on Auburn. I really did flip a coin. Whatever it was, heads or tails is what I was going to go with because I got Michigan State beating either of them. How do you feel about this Michigan State team and their potential run to San Antonio?
Yeah, I mean, they're an interesting team. They don't have really any star player. I say that they got a freshman who's a really good player, and he's their best, certainly their best offensive player. Jason Richardson's kid, who played in the NBA for a bunch of years, was on Michigan State's last national championship team. His kid is Michigan State's best offensive player. He's a freshman. So I kind of forget about him because he wasn't playing a lot early in the year, but has come on pretty strong. He's a good player, But other than that, they've got just a bunch of guys who know their roles, and it's not a great team. It's just not in terms of talent. But they, I think this is definitely a case where they kind of overachieve to what their talent is. But they rebound well. They play great defense. They guard the 3-point line generally very well.
Yeah.
So they do a lot of things. They get a lot of points on fast breaks, a lot of second chance points. They do a lot of things that add up to some pretty good things. So they go 10 deep. So they've tended to wear teams down in the second half. Doesn't happen all the time, but that's happened a lot this season. So I feel like if there's an injury during the tournament, they can probably withstand that. So. They've got a lot going for them, and I think they have a decent shot to get to the Final Four.
Yeah, I was excited. Last night we did our player pool, 11 players in the draft in the league, and I had the number 4 pick. And my first pick, number 4, Walter Clayton from Florida, was still there. But then the second go-around would have been the 19th selection. I'm sitting there with Michigan State, my Final Four, and Jace Richardson. There was 5 picks, and I'm like, don't take Richardson. And he got there. I'm like, easily. I ran up with the card like I was the Chiefs and Patrick Mahomes and the number 10 pick in 2017, and turned it in. Jace Richardson, Michigan State. So I was pretty pumped about my first 2 picks. A couple of guys that I really wanted. So yeah, Jace has been he's been awesome for Michigan State, and averaging like 21 points per game in the last 6 or 7, and a big reason why they're in this spot. And, if they get by Wisconsin, maybe we're talking about, Michigan State cutting down the nets in the Big Ten tournament, which wouldn't have mattered to the selection committee if they'd have done that or not, because they would have been a 2 seed, because we've learned the Big Ten tournament does not matter to the selection committee ever.
No.
It's never.
Well,
it's never
and the other thing is that they play it on Sunday afternoon. I mean, I think you're better off losing unless you need to win to make the NCAA tournament or something. I think a lot of times better teams are just better off losing in the semifinals. You don't have to go through that. Yep. You don't have to play on Sunday.
Yep.
For instance, Michigan's got a quick turnaround. They got to play on Thursday out in Denver. So they had to get home and start practicing and getting ready to go because they've got an early game this week. So it can be a quick turnaround for a lot of these teams.
Yeah, Wisconsin plays Wisconsin after losing that game and losing 11-point lead in the second half. They play at 12:30 on Thursday.
Okay, they play Thursday too. Okay.
Yep, Thursday at 12:30.
Right, so.
Michigan has a later game. They play at 9:00 at night on Thursday in Denver, but Wisconsin plays 12:30 on Thursday. They're one of the first 3 games to tip off in the NCAA tournament after playing the very last game of the regular / postseason before the tournament. They're one of the first games on Thursday, and they were the last game on Sunday that play. I guess maybe Memphis and who do they play? UAB might have been the final game, which is the only reason North Carolina got in the tournament is because UAB ended up losing. Apparently not. That's the only reason.
No, I think they would have found a way to get North Carolina in. That's a nice excuse, but I think they would have found a way. I have a
feeling they did as well. Adam Teicher from ESPN is our guest. All right, Adam, what do you think of the? What were you going to say, Dylan?
I was going to say I had 104 reasons as well, or 104,000 reasons.
100,000.
Yeah.
104,000. Yeah, you're right. Sorry. Sorry. Yeah, you're right. 104,000 reasons.
My name's not Bubba, though. So.
Well, you know what? We can call you Bubba from now on. That's fine. It's all good. Bubba Teicher with us from ESPN is our guest. Adam, the signings this week that the Chiefs have had since we last talked, Gardner Minshew is the backup quarterback. They bring back Juju Smith-Schuster and Kareem Hunt, and they decide that they do need defensive tackles on their team eventually with Jerry Tillery. Let's talk about Gardner Minshew. It's a fun name. They bring him in. Do you think the Chiefs will be in a position, or Andy Reid, while he's the Chiefs coach, and who knows how long that's going to be, if they will ever be a team that, whether it's middle of the round or late in the draft, that they draft a guy and develop for a couple of years as the backup and have maybe a cheaper contract than some of the veterans they brought in with Blaine Gabbert and Carson Wentz and now Gardner Minshew?
I don't see that unless, I don't see that unless the Chiefs, when Holmes gets later on in his career, or there's just a guy that they get to the third round or whatever, and they think the world of this kid, and they have he's clearly the best player on their board. Then I can see them maybe trying to do that, but. No, otherwise, Andy Reid just has his way of doing things. He thinks this has really worked the way he's done it with a series of veteran quarterbacks as Pat Mahomes' backup. We're talking about first, obviously, Chad Henne, but also Matt Moore, and then Carson Wentz, and now Gardner Minshew, and even going back to the Alex Smith days, there was Chase Daniel, who was a veteran in terms of years of experience. So I think that the pattern is set here. So I think there was a shot. Oh, I forgot about Blaine Gabbert too, and there was a shot that one year that Blaine Gabbert was here that maybe Shane Buechele would be the backup quarterback. That's kind of why he left. He thought that he outplayed Blaine Gabbert and deserved to be the number 2 quarterback, and he wasn't. So he left and went to the Bills. And so, I think if there was ever a shot the Chiefs were going to do that, it was with a guy like Buechele instead of Blaine Gabbert. But so, no, I think the Chiefs feel like this is a good investment. It helps Andy Reid maybe sleep at night a little bit. And maybe having a veteran in there helps Mahomes. He still seems to think so. Reid still seems to think that having a veteran, it helps Mahomes, and even though certainly Mahomes has played in more games at this point of his career than Minshew has.
What does this mean, if anything, for Chris Oladokun? Because they also bring back Bailey Zappi from the practice squad. They signed him last year, but he returns to the practice squad as well. They've invested a lot of time into Chris Oladokun as well. Is this bad news for Oladokun that Minshew signed and then Bailey Zappi is brought back as well, or is this Chiefs just maybe playing some numbers with Zappi and Oladokun there come training camp time?
Yeah, they have to have 4 guys, or they need 4 guys at training camp. So here's your 4. They've got those guys now. The Chiefs. You remember they didn't have Oladokun on their original practice squad last year. You remember Bailey Zappi was their third quarterback, and he was that guy last year. And then he signed with the Browns, and that's when they brought Oladokun back. So. I think it does not. The Chiefs kind of liked what they saw from Bailey Zappi and felt like if they ever needed him, if they needed to go down to a third guy, he was a guy that might be able to step in for a week or two and help them win a game or two. So, I think unless there's some kind of change, either Zappi just has a horrible camp or Oladokin has a horrible camp. I think those are their three top quarterbacks: Mahomes, Minshew, and Zappi.
Visiting with Adam Teicher from ESPN. I'm going to combine Juju and Kareem in their signings. It feels like their signings are connected in a way that this is what happens in the offseason with Brett Veach as you approach the draft, or you see some different, whether it's deficiencies or holes in a roster, that somebody will be signed so that if the draft board doesn't go a certain way, you don't leave and go, oh, no, we're screwed at this point. Or you don't sit in the fifth round and say, we got to take a guy that we got a seventh-round grade on because we don't have anybody to fill that role. Kareem Hunt was brought back along with signing Elijah Mitchell, and we know about Pacheco, but I don't think it will preclude them from taking a running back in the draft. And Juju Smith-Schuster to sort of continue to fill out that wide receiver room. What do you make of those two signings of Juju and Kareem returning to the Chiefs?
Yeah, no, I agree completely that that's what these moves were. They were just like, hey, let's make sure we don't have to draft a running back when we get there. But they still could, and certainly they might, or we don't have to draft a wide receiver, although they still could. And I think there's a good chance they will, but not in a high round for sure. But that is what this was. It was just sort of protecting, building depth on the roster and. I could see a scenario where the Chiefs, assuming Elijah Mitchell is healthy and able to play, and Pacheco is as well, I could see a scenario where the Chiefs did draft a back, and were so impressed with him in camp that maybe they cut Kareem Hunt. So I think those things are on the table with these moves. I don't know if they're going to happen or not, but my sense is both those guys will be with the Chiefs when the season starts next year, but. We'll see. I mean, I think this just gives them a little bit more flexibility. They never want to go into the draft feeling like they have to have somebody. They've done that. They've kind of forced that a few times in the past, and that's been when they made some mistakes. With Braylon Speaks a few years ago when they felt like they had to have a pass rusher, and maybe last year with Suamataia when they felt like they had to have a left tackle. So. That's the last thing they want to do, and I guarantee. I can't guarantee anything, but I know that when they get to the first round and they're confronted with a choice between an offensive tackle who they have rated in the third round as a third-round type player, or a linebacker who they feel like is a first-round player, they really would rather go with the linebacker, even though maybe that's a position of that's not as of great a need as offensive tackle is. So, that's how you get better. That's how you continue to go to Super Bowls. So I think that's really what the Chiefs are trying to accomplish with those two moves in particular is, hey, let's just get a little depth here and make sure that we don't have to go in any certain direction in the draft.
And the Kareem Hunt signing I like because I think it can be two roles that he can fill. And we'll see what Elijah Mitchell's role will be and his health when you're dealing with soft tissue injuries. It is a concern, and especially with the surgery on a hamstring is a concern. But with Kareem Hunt, I think it potentially fills two roles. A short yardage back who he's very good at doing. That's one of the best skills he has is being able to find that hole and find that yard or two, whatever it takes. And so you can give him the football at goal line situations or third and short, fourth and short. And, they brought in Samaje Perine as a guy to be that third down back, a pass protector, a receiver. And Kareem Hunt, even with all the reps he was getting as, a two down, sometimes three down back when Pacheco was out, he still ended up with 23 receptions, and Samaje had 28 receptions on the season. So with his ability to catch and some of those things, I think you have a short yardage situation, but you also have a potential third down back depending on what you get from Elijah Mitchell. He's more of a receiver than Elijah Mitchell is. So I like the signing because I think there's last year was like, oh, do you go get Gus Edwards because you need a short yardage situation back? Well, I'm glad they didn't because, Kareem Hunt was there and he was pretty fantastic at short yardage. So I think this does both. Gives you an option as a third down back and certainly somebody on 4th and 1, 3rd and 1, 3rd and 2 that give the ball to, and odds are he's going to pick up the first down.
Yeah, with Hunt, it's easy to forget because he was so effective as a runner when he was with the Chiefs the last time around, the first time around. But man, he was every bit as good as a pass catcher. I mean, he did some really nice things out of the backfield, and I thought the Chiefs kind of going with P. Ryan exclusively as their third round down back last year, I thought was a mistake. Maybe I thought there were times where they'd take Kareem Hunt off the field on third downs, and he jogged past P. Ryan on his way to the sideline while P. Ryan was on his way to the huddle. And I'm thinking, this is a mistake. Leave Hunt out there. I feel like they didn't get enough out of him in that regard, even though you say he did catch 23 passes last year. But I don't feel like they used him well enough as a receiver. So maybe that'll change if he makes the roster this year.
Yeah, 53 receptions his rookie year. They had for almost 500 yards. Yeah, he was definitely a big part of what he did. Last one on this in this segment of guys they signed. Jerry Tillery, defensive tackle, and I was joking as we started the show and previewing our conversation that when back when he was drafted in the 2019 draft. Jerry Tillery was a very popular name around here, and it was like, man, if you draft Tillery in the first round and you put him with Chris Jones, then you are talking about dominance for the next 6, 7, 8, 9 years with he and Chris Jones. And it's like, oh, the Chiefs finally got Jerry Tillery. The career has not gone the way that people thought it would for him as a guy coming out of Notre Dame, who was like this specimen of a defensive tackle prospect, but they bring him in. This is some depth at defensive tackle. I still think this is one of those to where they will still address defensive tackle. This is lesser than a Juju or a Kareem. This is more of a depth, and they still need somebody that can be closer to an every down back or an every down defensive tackle, or at least a 2-down, as opposed to a pass rushing specialist who had no sacks last year in 17 games in Jerry Tillery. An okay player, but may not even make the squad out of training camp. I don't know.
Yeah, I agree that I think he will make it, but there's a chance he doesn't. And I don't think this precludes the Chiefs at all from drafting defensive linemen. I still think they'll emerge from this draft with probably a couple. I think they'll. They need some numbers there. It's time to replenish at those positions for sure. And the other thing that Tillery does though is there's some positional versatility there.
True.
He can play on the outside as well, and played some there with Minnesota last year. So there's some things you could do with him in different ways, and I'm interested to see how the Chiefs use him. When they get to the OTAs and then into camp, how are they going to use him? What's his role? How are they looking at him? Because that's the thing that maybe gives him a better chance to make the team, is that versatility that he could probably play every position they have on the defensive line.
Yeah, I think he makes the squad. It's just if he struggles in camp, and if they do draft a couple of defensive tackles or something like that, and it's a numbers crunch, then he could be the odd man out. But I do think they signed him for him to be a part of the team this year, and that versatility is there. I said that was the last one, but this is a part of it. Because of Jerry Tillery's position versatility, Minahu still on the table, do you think, to bring back, as the market seems to be coming back to the Chiefs, or even if the market continues to come back to the Chiefs, they've moved on from Minahu?
No, I think that's a possibility. If he doesn't sign anywhere, I wouldn't say no to that until it doesn't happen anymore. Yeah. I just know that he had he wanted to get paid this time around, and that was the thing for him. And I don't think it's going to happen here, and apparently it's not going to happen anywhere. So, he may have to come back and take a 1-year prove-it deal and take another swing at it next year. Have a big season and then try it that way. So, no, I don't think the door is closed there. I could see that happening.
Adam Teicher, ESPN. We'll take a timeout. We'll come back. We'll talk about Derek Stingley's deal, resetting the cornerback market, how that affects the Chiefs and Trent McDuffie. And I want to talk to Adam Teicher about a conversation in the clip we played last week about Matt Stafford, which I thought was pretty fascinating, and how it connects and relates to Patrick Mahomes and what we heard at the Combine. We'll do that on the other side of the break. More Zone next. Jason Anderson with you, Sterling Holmes, Dylan Michaels. We hang out with Adam Teicher for one more segment here. Adam, let's talk about the cornerback market and what has happened this year, and that is Derek Stingley has reset the cornerback market by roughly, I think, 20%. It was a massive jump. And it's funny because, like, a couple months ago, you and I may have been talking, or whoever it was, we were having a conversation about the wide receiver market had just ballooned. And it was like, okay, so when is the cornerback market going to catch up? Like the top high-end number one cornerback, when will that start to catch up to what the wide receivers are doing? And Jamar Chase reset the cornerback market by 15% over Jefferson, and Stingley reset the cornerback market at $30 million per year by 20%. How do you think this relates to Trent McDuffie? Are the Chiefs going to be in position still to, whether it's this offseason or next offseason or after the fifth-year franchise, to sign Trent McDuffie long-term? Or is the explosion in the cornerback market maybe pricing the Chiefs out and they may have to go the route of L'Jarius Sneed?
No, I can't see it pricing them out for Trent McDuffie. I think he's a little different than Sneed. I mean, he's still a relatively young guy. He's been in good health his whole career with the Chiefs, other than that, that freak hamstring thing he had that his rookie year. He's been a durable player, so I don't see it with him. I think that's a guy that the Chiefs want to keep. In terms of, not signing him already and not being ahead of the rush here, well, that's a good thing to do if you got some cap room to play with. But the Chiefs had other things they had to do first, and they really weren't in a position this time around to be worried about next year's problems right now, So, yeah, sure, it cost them a little bit of money, but the Chiefs had other things to do. So I don't really think, they've done a nice job when they've had the chance in re-signing guys ahead of time. Certainly they did, obviously, with Mahomes, and even more recently, this year or last year with guys like Creed Humphrey and Noah Gray. So, I think the Chiefs have done a pretty good job, and they've looked for their opportunities. And, hey, it still could happen with McDuffie before next season starts. But, they have him for 2 more years, and the same thing for Karlaftis. They have these two guys for 2 more years if they want. And if it has to come to that, for one of them, they could certainly make him the franchise player, the year after that. So I just don't know that's the Chiefs have other things they have to do with their money right now, and they're losing a little bit of money on the McDuffie contracts in the future, but they're gaining that money right now in not paying him a bigger salary right now. So I think that sometimes these things come out in the wash a little bit, and if you're probably better off getting it done early when you don't need that money right now. But the Chiefs are not in that position here this year, so they're better off. I think waiting with McDuffie and with Karlaftis, and let's see what happens. Maybe they can get it done next year with both those guys.
Well, I think once Stingley got up to $30 million, like Patrick Surtain signing last year looks like an absolute bargain now at $24 million per year, and then J.C. Horn gets 25, and you're like, oh. Well, that's interesting because he ain't better than Patrick Surtain, and then Stingley was like, all right, I'm going to dunk on that at 20% raise to $30 million per year, and now the guarantees are less than Pat Surtain. Surtain's guarantees and the total value of the contract's $96 million with $77.5 guaranteed. It's also 1 more year than Stingley. Stingley was a 3-year contract with $63.5 million guaranteed. The fact that he got 30, we can look at it from Trent McDuffie's standpoint. But part of the reason that you wanted to be early is so that, you could be cheaper at that time. Like, it would be great if they could have signed him right after Surtain, but the window wasn't open yet. But once he gets to 30, Adam, then I think there's value in you're not paying him over the next couple of years what you would be paying him if you signed him to this massive deal of $90 million over 3 years with, $70 million guaranteed, that you can cross that bridge in a couple of years. And I don't think, and I might be wrong, I don't think the McDuffie contract will be to the position to where the Bengals were last year, that they could have got Jamar Chase if they did it before Jefferson, like 33, 34, and now it's at 41. I don't think we're talking about McDuffie a year from now signing for $36 million per year on his contract. I think Stingley goes to 30. Sauce will get his contract, and we'll see what that is. But I think there's value in keeping that money right now at a $4 million cap hit and then a fifth-year option if they have to play on it at 13.6.
Yeah, I think that, a lot in that sense. I think this comes out in the wash. I mean, it's 6 of one, half dozen or the other. I mean, he's going to get his money, but the Chiefs can save a little bit now by continuing to pay him on his rookie contract. So I think there's a lot of value in that. And looking ahead for the Chiefs and their salary cap and what it's going to look like in future years. We've talked about how the Chiefs were really surprised and really pleasantly surprised when the salary cap this year. They've been planning for months on it being around $270 million, and it turns out it's over $279. Well, just think of what that means for next year and the year after. I mean, that's another $9 million or so that the cap is going to be ahead of where it would have been. And so there's going to be massive increases in the salary cap going forward here for the Chiefs and for other teams as well. I mean, I'm wondering if it's going to be over $300 million, the salary cap next year. So, these things are all relative to what you're doing, and to be paying Trent McDuffie right now a big contract like those guys are getting, I just don't think makes any sense. I mean, you'd like to reward the guy, but they're not in a position to do that. I think they very well could be in a position to give him that kind of contract next year or the year after that. And, Travis Kelce's money will be coming off their books next year. So, I think this thing is going to look a little better cap-wise for the Chiefs. Let's see what happens from this point forward. But for now, I think you can see a little daylight there for the Chiefs. So I just think in his case, it doesn't make a lot of sense. And I don't think this means that Trent McDuffie's going to be eventually moving on. I mean, certainly could happen, but I don't think so. I think that's a guy the Chiefs want to keep around.
Yeah, I do too. And I think that, I don't know that he's going to play on a fifth-year option. So when they get to next year, maybe Trent McDuffie is letting the Chiefs know that, hey, with this final year of the money I'm making, but fifth-year option, getting $13.6 million is pretty good. But I'd like to get a contract extension instead of just playing on that fifth year. So hopefully there's no holdout or anything like that. It might be different in the fifth year if he would have been voted into a Pro Bowl like he should have been. Hell, at least one of them. But when he's AP number one first team and AP second team in back-to-back years and not a Pro Bowl in either one of them, that fifth-year option cost him, $7 million in 1 year because he wasn't a two-time Pro Bowler. Even a one-time Pro Bowler, he'd have made $4 more million in the fifth-year option than he's making now. And it's not the Chiefs. Chiefs can't just say, hey, we'll increase the fifth-year option money because of we think you should have been a Pro Bowler. No, it's paragraph, in the CBA of paragraph 5 in the salaries, 2 Pro Bowls for cornerback in 2026 season is $20.2 million. No Pro Bowls, but playtime criterion is 13.6.
And here's the other thing about McDuffie. I mean, if you're him, do you want to sign a new contract right now? I mean, do you want to wait a little bit?
Do you want to wait? Yeah.
And do you want to see what the market looks like next year? And after Sauce Gardner signs, maybe you want to be, if you're him, you're in no hurry. So, it takes 2 to make a deal here. So I just think right now, if I'm McDuffie, I don't think I do want that deal right now. I think I'll take my contract now and take my chances in a year or two. And I think the Chiefs feel the same way, that they're going to be in better shape to handle that kind of contract then than they are now.
Yeah, I wonder if Surtain would have been like, damn it, if I had just signed in 2020. I mean, J.C. Horn's got $47 million guaranteed at signing, and I got 41. J.C. Horn's getting 47 at signing. So that's interesting. I want to play this clip, Adam, and just get your initial thoughts real quick on it, and then maybe we'll get into a deeper conversation next week or the week after that or whenever. But this clip is from New Heights a couple of weeks ago, or last Wednesday. I played this last Thursday when I heard it because it really stood out because it reminded me of the Combine of what Brett Veach was talking about. And in fact, you know what? Let's play the Brett Veach clip first. Let's switch it up. Adam, to refresh people's memories, here's what Brett Veach said at the Combine when he was asked about, average depth of target and why the offense has sort of gone shorter routes. And he said, there's a combination of things, but then specifically talking about Patrick Mahomes, this is what he said.
I think we approach every offseason where we want to get him not overthinking. He's grown and developed so much where Coach Nagy and I talk about this, where he knows maybe too much at this point, where, he's seeing things that maybe defenses don't even do now because he's that far advanced.
So they want to get him not overthinking. He knows maybe too much, and he's that far advanced. Here's Matt Stafford on New Heights last Wednesday, Adam, and it was a simple, conversation about why he likes watching rookies play, rookie quarterbacks, and it really stood out to me in what we just heard from Brett Veach. Here's Matt Stafford with New Heights and as to why he likes watching rookie quarterbacks play.
I like watching the young guys play because it kind of like revitalizes me, invigorates me a little bit. Like, golly, these guys are out there just playing carefree, ripping it. Sometimes when you have, a bunch of years of experience, you got some scars too, right? And you're like, these guys are just letting it rip into this coverage and and I'm like, I remember CJ threw a touchdown. I think it was a preseason game. He threw like a bang 8 into 3 buzz right over the safety's head, and I was like, I saw him that year we played him or something or practiced against him. I was like, what are you doing ripping the skinny right in the rotation for a touchdown? He's like, hey, man, they didn't play it right. And I'm like, just to be carefree enough to be like, you know what, shoot it in there and score. I'm like, man, I'd have been going that way. Yeah. And, probably been 2nd, 6. We'd been happy with the 4-yard completion, but my man's trotting off the field with a touchdown.
That is real. I noticed that even just for me, like you get resistant to some things sometimes just because you've been burned on it before.
100%.
You're like, I don't really try. And then you'll watch somebody else do it, and all of a sudden it like works out. You're like, man, am I wrong in this or am I right? Like, what's going on here? It sounds like yours is pretty black and white. But
but like the further you go, no, I'm with you. The further you get in your career, you got to fight that sometimes, right? Where you're like,
sure.
Man, like I know how they should be playing that defense.
Yeah.
And they're not playing it right. But like I went over here and this was open, even though I know it shouldn't be. You know what I mean? You're like the teams that are really ultra like undisciplined on defense don't want to give away any secrets. But those but those are the tough ones to play sometimes, right? Because you're like, you may get a freebie and score or whatever, but a lot of times, man, you're passing something because the coverage and it's wide open because they blew it.
That really stood out to me, Adam, of hearing him talk about the further you get in your career, you got to fight against that. You got some scars. You get resistant because you've been burned. And C.J. Stroud throws that skinny for the touchdown when it's like the defense says you shouldn't throw it there. I'd have thrown the 4-yard check down in 2nd and 6, a nice little play, and instead of a touchdown. And he's like, C.J. was like, well, they didn't play it right. And I think what Matt Stafford is saying is, yeah, but I wouldn't have even looked there to see if they played it right. And I wonder if that's where maybe, Brett Veach and Matt Nagy are talking about not overthinking. Maybe he knows too much, too advanced, of just like, man, just go play football.
Yeah, no, that was an interesting comment from Matt Stafford, no doubt. And, clearly Mahomes is a different kind of player than he was early in his career when he first became a starter. And, the thing about him, people called him a gunslinger. I didn't see that with him back then. I always felt like he played free and he made a lot of throws that he obviously felt good about. But how many times did he put the ball into harm's way? A very small percentage of time. To me, a gunslinger is a guy who's reckless. He'll make some big plays with his arm and with his his bravery in throwing into certain coverages, but he's going to make a lot of mistakes that way too. And Mahomes didn't do that. It almost always worked out for him, and now it's certainly a different kind of game there. And for him, so yeah, maybe that's the simplest way to put it. The maybe the off-season goal for the Chiefs with regard to Mahomes is just get him back to maybe the kind of free whatever term you want to use, but just make him more free to play the way he did when he was first getting started here.
Yeah, he almost the exact same number of attempts, 580 in 2018, 581 this last year. And in the quote-unquote gunslinging era of Mahomes, he had a 2.1 interception percentage. In the check down risk averse, he had a 1.9%. So 0.2 percentage difference in interception percentage when it was throwing it down the field and being this gunslinger versus now. Defenses are playing him different, certainly. But I thought it was interesting that C.J. Stroud was like, yeah, but they didn't play it right. And Matt Stafford's like, yeah, but I wouldn't have looked there to see if they played it right. And I think Mahomes probably doing the same thing. I know where I'm going before the snap. I know how the defense is going to play this. I'm that advanced. I understand this. This is the next level of a quarterback. And it's funny because, Adam, and I know we got to let you go, but it's just funny that we had been talking about, man, wait till he really starts reading defenses. Wait till he really starts knowing exactly what the defense is going to do. And now it's almost gotten to the point to where it's almost working against him to a degree if Brett Veach is correct in spending the offseason trying to get him to not overthink out there as a quarterback. So
yeah, careful what you wish for. You just might get it.
You're right. Adam Teicher from ESPN. Well, Adam, because I've got Jace Richardson on my player pool and Michigan State in my bracket, I am wishing for a Michigan State 4 wins here over the next couple of weekends, and I hope I get it with my wish. Adam, thank you so much, brother. Good luck to your Michigan State Spartans, brother.
That makes at least 2 of us in Kansas City rooting for Michigan State this month.
Darn right. Thank you, Adam. Appreciate it, man. Enjoy the late game Friday night.
All right, good stuff, Jason. Talk to you next week.
Absolutely. There's Adam Teicher, and again, his Michigan State Spartans play the second to last tip-off of the first 2 games or first 2 days of the tournament. They play 9:00 on Friday night. You got to wait a long time. So yeah, we'll take a timeout. We'll come back, continue rolling. More Zone right after this. All right, wrapping up this hour, we will hang out with Les Norman in the next hour. A little break in the norm with Les Norman. Talk some Royals baseball with him. The latest with the Royals, 9 days away now. 9 days away from opening day. A few spring training games left. Major League Baseball also has officially started. So the regular season is underway in Major League Baseball, which is pretty awesome. So, we're waiting for the Royals to start next Thursday, but the Dodgers are officially the best team in baseball by being the only undefeated team in baseball right now. Cubs, worst team in baseball. Cubs winless.
Wow.
Losing
Losers.
4-1. And with a Freddie Freeman getting a late scratch and Mookie Betts sick, they still win 4-1 because I guess they have really good players all around at the Dodgers. day this morning.
That music right now on this day is better than any group or song I've ever known in the moment, not altogether.
Did you wake up and watch the game this morning? Did you wake up and set your alarm to watch the Cubs and Dodgers opening day, game 1 of the Major League Baseball season?
I'm sad to say I did not.
Okay.
Only because me and the boys had late softball last night.
Yeah.
And nobody they changed where it's a bunch of their friends playing, and I'm the only guy that can pitch. And just the bending over every pitch and pushing off because I'm not like big leg day guy. And I was hurting so bad, dude.
You're in a beer league softball team.
I'm 85. Sterling, let's go. I'm tired and sore.
I hate the fact that other people are like, "Oh, who's this? Oh gosh, we have to play this guy again." Seriously,
but
the
I
third baseman is petrified of you.
I bet Les is like out there to have fun.
I am.
The guy played professional baseball. You're out there to have fun.
You're absolutely right. I hit myself last on the team. I always hit last.
Okay.
I'm not trying to hit home runs because I've got these. Because then all the deers, like 6 deers in a row, just can run all over the place and hit, and they're real young, under the age of 28. So I just
no. I don't disagree with all of these things. I'm not disagreeing. I'm saying the third baseman
I don't kill the third baseman.
Terrified.
The shortstop and third baseman do back up. But I usually go to right center because they all shift all the way over.
Yeah.
The right fielder's like playing the line, and so I just hit the
what
gap,
about-
jog to third.
What about when the book is out on you and they're playing you to fade and they're playing you to go the other way?
Then I will hit one into the night sky.
It's all about
I
adjustments.
will yank one into the night sky.
It's a game of adjustments, Sterling.
He's rocking metal cleats. He's
No.
going spikes up.
Nope.
Is he wearing the jewelry? The
I am
necklaces?
not
and-
blinging.
Are you wearing your old baseball pants, the super tight ones, the
No.
painted on?
I'm wearing the fantasy camp very, very loose big league pants. They're super comfortable.
Nice.
They're not. They're in no way
Love
am
it.
I taking the.
You're not wearing Jack
embarrassing-
Caglione's pants?
No.
I'm a shorts guy. Let people know I'm not sliding. I just right off the bat, I'm rocking shorts.
Beer league softball. Who's sliding?
Yeah.
You'd be surprised. That's
Well,
why.
and both
won't-
my boys are.
Are they really?
Well, I mean, again, we've got a bunch of kids under age 28.
It's hard to
so
not be
they're-
competitive when you get in those things, get in those
Yeah,
moments.
we have to have constant talks.
I will say from the standpoint of being somebody that plays at a high level and then you go and play for fun. We played in local rec league with a bunch of people around here, Sarin and Chad and B-Mac, and Gurley was on our team. And people know who Greg Gurley is.
Mm-hmm.
And so we play sort of the lazy 2-3 Syracuse zone, at least Gurley does. Chad Boger plays like every single possession is the last possession he'll ever play. By the way, it's another theory we can get into that I have about how you play basketball is how you are at work.
Mm-hmm.
Chad Boger plays to the max constantly while he's out there, and I'm like, well, he's also one of the hardest working people that is never stopping. I think if you're lazy on the basketball court, I think you're kind of lazy in work. I think if you're only running hard when you think it benefits you that you can get a layup or a three, then I think in work, then you will work hard as long as it benefits you. That's my theory when it comes to certain sports and basketball. But Greg Gurley's been there, done that, right? One of the best high school basketball players in the area, played at KU. So we're playing at this, random night, and Gurley typically will just, if he grabs a rebound, he'll come down, dribble to half court, shoot, make it, and dribble and jog back the other way and play his, weak. It's really Baylor 2-3 zone, not Syracuse. It's the old Baylor one.
Courtesy wingspan defense.
That's exactly
Mizzou versus Princeton 2-3 zone.
Yeah, some of that stuff. But this one game, like Greg's not out there to play. He's just out there to have fun with friends. Like, hey, let's get out there and play basketball, have fun. I mean, he could shoot it from anywhere in the gym, and he makes it anytime he shoots.
Yeah.
But he gets there in the zone, and there's this young punk that's like 23, 24, knows it's Greg Gurley, and he's got the ball. He's like, ball, one of those guys. Give him the ball, and he's like squaring up Greg and like, cross him over and goes and lays it up. And it's like, talking smack. Dude.
Like they do.
Greg Gurley. All right. How many years removed from being one of the most amazing high school athletes that would just, dunk on you until he had the neck injury? Gurley's like, ball.
Yeah.
Gets the ball, gets over to the 3-point line on the wing. He's like, come on out here, dude. Guy goes out there. Greg Gurley's just sort of dribbling. 2 steps to his right, hard crossover, 1 dribble with his left, from 2 feet away from the block, jumps and just crushes it,
Tomahawk.
dunks it on him, lands, and then slowly jogs down the court and gets back into his lazy 2-3 zone with his hands out, just not even carry.
No
It's
words.
the last thing he did the whole game. He didn't have to do anything else.
That's it.
Because it was just like, I can do that whenever I want. They're a cool guy that crossed me up and laid it up. Yeah, I'm a little bit bigger. I'm out of shape. But I can do that if I want to.
Still.
What I just did to you, I'm here having fun, jackass. Let's just have some fun here.
Yeah.
And I was like, that was pretty awesome.
Yeah.
that was pretty baller move.
That's what it should be all about.
I mean, baller move.
You're going to have
It's
some
about
of those
the beer.
guys, but
It's about the beer.
There was so much more respect that I gained for Gurley that day. Like I already knew he was an amazing basketball player.
Yeah.
I mean, come on, he went to KU. Like he was one of the better high school basketball players in the area. Like he did that. Like this many years removed from like I don't know the last time you probably dunked a basketball like that. But like,
and the thing is, 10 minutes later, everybody on the court except Greg are still thinking about that play.
I still think about it. That was like in 2007. I still think about that. Like, good God, man. It was just there whenever he wanted to, but he'd jog down, shoot from half court, make it, jog back the other way. I'm like, oh, yeah, that's different. So that's why I'm like, I assume with Les Norman, it's like, man, I'm just here to have fun with my boys. I'm not trying to prove to everybody that the high school coach didn't play me, and that's why I didn't get drafted in the 5th round. And I'd have definitely made it if it wasn't for that bad arm injury that I had when I slipped and fell. I was going to be a first-round draft pick. It's not filled with all those guys out there on the field.
I still roll over. It's still hard to wait, and I'll cue one off the end and hit one to shortstop. I'm not sprinting down the first. If you bobble it twice, I mean, if I go run all out, I'll beat it because I can still run. But then after that play, I can't run for the next 10 days because I blew both hammies out.
That's right.
So, yeah, I'm just going to, it's on me. I got there too early, and it's softball, and I'm 56 now, so go ahead and throw me out. I'll just pitch and go keep the book. That's fine. Watch my kids.
Because tomorrow I'll wake up and be able to walk.
And, well...
for the most part.
Yeah, but now that I'm pitching, I can't wake up in the morning and watch the MLB game overseas, apparently. So,
good point.
Yeah.
Very good point.
Bad planning.
That's silly, right? The overseas games, pretty silly. A week early, 10 days, a week early.
What I find is silly is that the Dodgers and Cubs are then coming back to the States and playing spring training games. Or playing more spring training after playing a real game. Now you come back to play spring training games.
The MLB brainiacs, man, I just don't understand the things they do. And just when you think, okay, they can't wrest control away from the players, managers, front office anymore. They've tapped out on ideas, and they do something like that where these games actually count. These pitchers are still behind. Even though there's only 9-10 days left, they still need the 9-10 days of working out, of getting their timing down. I mean, I literally, even as a backup player for a couple of years, I tried to time it within the last few days of breaking camp, whether it's minor league ball or the big leagues.
Yeah.
And so I know the Otanis of the world and the Freddie Freemans, who injured, of course, but they're the elite of the elite. But even so, if you're going to play it overseas, do it 3 to 5 days in advance.
Yes.
Allow the travel, and then come home and hit the ground running into the season. You're just ahead a couple games.
Do you remember 2014? When Zach Greinke was going to go pitch in Australia? The Dodgers were playing in Australia, and they were asked, like, all right, Greinke, you excited? You're going to play in Australia. Quote, absolutely zero excitement. I would say there's absolutely zero excitement for it. There just isn't any excitement to it. End quote. And then everyone was like, oh, yeah, we probably shouldn't ask Zach Greinke if he's excited to go pitch in Australia.
Yeah.
That's the last guy we should have talked to about this. We'll be blunt and honest.
The bullpen guys I do wonder about, because if you're playing a regular season game, like, hey, I need to go to the bullpen here. Whereas the starters in the game, Yamamoto has been ramping up, and Shota Imanaga's ramping up. So they both have March 18th on their date for opening day for their first start. But bullpen guys, like, are they all to be available for regular? Are they all ramping up and ready to go on March 18th when you're really 9 days away from getting the regular season started? And it's like, oh, hey, I need to use you for 6 outs here. I know that may not have been the plan, but we're trying to win a baseball game. All right, this is the first game of the season. We're trying to start off 1-0. Like, every game's going to matter if we're competing in this particular division or not. I would wonder about the bullpen guys as opposed to the starters that March 18th was their date that they were shooting for.
Yeah, and is this their final roster too? Is there a bullpen battle still going on? Because if that's a regular season game, you got to finalize the roster, then you come home and you got to unfinalize the roster, and then you got to refinalize it again. I mean, it doesn't. It just, to me, it doesn't make a lot of sense. It's a lot of extra moves, and you could be wasting something where normally September you can hang on to the call ups and the send downs and all that. And it's forcing you to tap into that move, and you think, oh, it's not a big deal. Well, when it comes down to one player at the end of the season, maybe it is a big deal. So, yeah, you never know. It's, again, MLB. I get money. They're trying to expand the game. But the last time I checked, professional baseball's already kind of big in Japan.
It is.
So you really don't need to expand it.
Yeah.
You know,
well,
I mean, Japan's kind of.
I mean, it's kind of the Dodgers that are like, we're going to play in Japan, Major League Baseball. We're playing these games because
that's because it's going to be a Japanese team in 10 years. I mean, it really is. And I'm not saying there's anything wrong with it. I'm just saying there's a big move in Japan. Like, if you want to come to the big leagues, if you're good enough to sign and make that contract, California and specifically the Dodgers is the place to play.
Chicago's been pretty big though too, with Seiya Suzuki and
Imanaga, and like but the number one baseball team, not surprising in Japan, is the Dodgers. Dodgers are huge.
It's what the NBA did with Houston and China when they had Yao Ming.
Yeah.
So it's kind of just taking advantage of the same playbook of, hey, we can expand in a country with the biggest star in our. Well, Yao Ming wasn't the biggest star, but he was a massive.
Well, he was probably the biggest.
He was the biggest. And he was also an icon because of his height. Basically, everyone just knew who Yao Ming was. He wasn't Shaq, but he was damn good.
But it's like all the teams that wanted Yoki, and I would have loved for the Royals to get Yoki, but they didn't really have a chance because he was going to go to the Dodgers with Yamamoto and Shohei Ohtani. Like, he was going to be a Dodger. That's what it was. All things being equal, I'm going to be a part of the biggest brand in Japan and get paid the same that I would get paid anywhere else.
And also, it might be more comforting because you'll have people who speak the language with you.
And an organization that's used to having the interpreters and the media that's following these players around, because that is a different Ichiro's media.
Well, they're used to it now.
Unbelievable.
They're used to the interpreters now. But.
Yeah, right. Yes, that's a good point. And the gambling interpreters and those things, they've been there, done that.
Now, if you're an interpreter, you have to not only be able to speak the language fluently, but also pass a financial planner test.
It's 100%. And you have to make sure that you don't have like a ghost DraftKings account somewhere. Les Norman is our guest. Jack Caglione was reassigned to the minor league camp yesterday. Not a surprise. I want to play this clip from Matt Quattrero. This was what he talked about yesterday as they reassigned Jack Caglione to the minor league camp. He was one of the biggest stories of spring training, and not only with the Royals, but other players or baseball analysts, and seeing what Jack was doing in his time with the Royals in the big league camp. But here's Matt Quattrero on the assessment of Jack Caglione's first big league training camp.
I think he did an incredible job, not only on the field, in the clubhouse, the way that he responded to the other guys, the way they responded to him. You could tell he earned their respect very quickly for the way he goes about it. He's a pro, and it happened quickly. Watching him play, his at-bats have been phenomenal. Yesterday was a great example. I mean, that guy's throwing 100, and he did a good job laying off tough pitches, worked that walk. The power's been obvious. He's made good strides defensively. It was an outstanding camp for him. Well, he's very well-rounded. He takes really good at-bats for a guy that has that power. Like you said, he can work a walk. He can hit the ball the other way, drives the ball to all fields. He looks like he's going to be a good hitter on top of having the power.
5 walks, 3 strikeouts through spring training, and obviously the power is there. Being a guy who's, been in a clubhouse, the importance of a younger guy, a bonus baby, as they would be called, to, according to Matt Quattrero, and I think according to the other players too, hearing from them when Bobby Witt was on with Jack Johnson talking about Jack, the importance of him earning the big leaguers' respect that quickly in the big league clubhouse, when I pointed out yesterday, this time last year he would have had all of 8 at-bats in SEC play. He would have been playing his second SEC game for Florida last year. What does that say to you about the player showing up and the other big leaguers that know what it takes to be a professional are already respecting, and he's earning their respect that quickly?
Yeah, well, in order to earn the respect, you say little, you go about your business, and you work hard, you keep your head down. The thing about Jack is that he's also smiling all the time. He looks like he's actually having fun. They see, it's not just the manager, the GM, the players see how good of at-bats he's taking. There's a humility to him already. And you can fake humility and joy only for a while, and eventually the crack, is going to reveal what's really going on. And he was there long enough where I think that they really got to see who Jack Caglione really is. And again, like Q said, the at-bats he had, the way he would take pitches, the timing, The way he attacked the hittable pitches, he didn't change his swing. He let the game come to him. He let the pitches come to him. He wasn't overmatched by, this guy's Randy Johnson throwing 180 miles an hour kind of thing. I mean, he really showed maturity in his at-bats. And then you go in the clubhouse and you're always working hard and you're getting after it and you're not complaining. I mean, there's just so much to him. And so I'm hoping that fans don't rush him, but I'm also hoping that if this really holds and it forces the hand, because what are the chances that both Melendez and Renfroe in the corner outfield? I know he's first base guy. We're kind of locked up there right now, but if Vinny ends up getting hurt or Sal goes down, because it just happens, that's a good opportunity too. But he could be that guy if he forces their hand. And so you don't force the hand just to force it, but it's really a big deal that your clubhouse and your players, especially your veterans, you've earned that respect in just your first spring training without having a big league pitch ever thrown to you.
Yeah, the plan, J.J. Piccolo said, is that he'll go to Double-A, play first base, and then as his bat swings out of Double-A.
So by mid-April.
Then he'll go to Triple-A, and in Triple-A, that's when he'll start getting some games in right field.
That's the plan.
That's the plan.
That's the plan.
Right, that's the plan right now.
But we all know that can change, we're in a generation where you can get called up from Double-A just as easily.
Yeah. But it's a good point about MJ and Renfroe, that if guys start struggling or an injury or something like that, does he play right field? Do they expedite his innings in right field to play defense and things like that?
Yeah, I don't think it's just Vinny or Salvi. I think it's any lefty. I mean, Renfroe
MJ.
too, if you want to, but MJ. I think even Michael Massey. If the back injury continues and he has those issues flare up, then you just put India back at second base, Michael and at third, and that still opens up a
MJ
legit.
played left. I mean, you could.
So if I think Massey, Vinny, Salvi, MJ, Hunter, I think there's 5 guys you really look at and say, if one of those dudes goes down, I think Jack Caglione is the guy who's being called up.
And what's to me exciting about it is, and I mentioned this last year at the trade deadline, and I said, would the Royals be more willing to move prospects this year? This was 2024. Because they view next year's trade deadline as their prospect or their player that they're trading away, that they're not having to trade anybody away to get a middle-of-the-order bat because it's Jack Caglione. If he hits the ground running, and I mean, we see that with the Texas Rangers. It's like, this guy was drafted, and then boom, the next year he's with the big league club. And now it seems like there's at least a chance, potential, that come trade deadline, the Royals' big acquisition is a lefty power hitter in the middle of the lineup that they don't have to trade a prospect for.
Yeah, and let me stoke a fire underneath you guys.
Please,
here too.
Stoke it.
Even though it took a little bit longer, just remember that Gavin Cross had a pretty good spring training too.
It's true, yeah.
And so even though it's taken him longer, now they're kind of coming up. If Jack stays hot and he's that player that is just almost ready now, wouldn't it be great to all of a sudden it solves both of your corner outfield problems without having to break the bank and go get a free agent finally, if you can even compete in that market? Because if it's a free agent worth their salt, somebody else is going to pay him more money. So they're both coming through the system. Can you see Gavin Cross and Jack Caglione in the same lineup at the corner outfield spots?
I will say I will advise Jack to avoid all outdoor areas and check for ticks constantly. Because, I mean, in all seriousness, Gavin lost a year.
Yeah.
Gavin Cross lost a year to the Rocky Mountain fever that he got from a tick. He lost all that weight. Gavin Cross lost a year of his development after being drafted. So
that's a big deal.
If he didn't,
do you remember Dan Nolte?
I don't.
Dan Nolte was a pitcher with the Twins, and he was in that Mitchell report with the steroids and all that.
Okay.
He was with the Yankees and all that a long time ago. That's when that whole thing came down. But he was like the 6'7" Yankee stud and the Twins stud, and he was kind of did the roids thing and then started throwing gas and all that.
Kind of did the roids thing.
Well, he did it. He kind of do it. But regardless of that,
allegedly,
he ended up getting that too and lost like 50, 60 pounds or some crazy thing, if I remember correctly.
Gavin Cross lost tons of weight.
That's no joke. Yeah.
So I don't know what Gavin Cross may be breaking big league camp right now with the Royals if that didn't happen. So in all seriousness, that sucks because that's a serious deal that Gavin Cross had to deal with, and having to come back from that and what he lost in his development along the way as being a college guy. So now that he can be back on, he had a good spring training, looked good in the breakout game, certainly can play right field, had the great throw to get the guy out at third. That's the one thing we know about Cross and Caglione is that they got the arms to play in right field. And I think against righties, Gavin Cross's bat will play. Certainly at the beginning against righties if he has to platoon even to get that spot. We'll take a timeout. We're hanging out with Les Norman, Breaking the Norm, presented by TruckMovers.com and First Federal Bank of Kansas City. We'll talk about the completely revamped pitching staff, what J.J. Piccolo has done in about 18 months, and how open the American League may be with the news out of New York with the Yankees and the Guardians and their injuries, and the Tigers maybe they're finished to the season, but what they could be, and the prospects of the Royals 9 days from now starting an American League Central Division winning season potentially. We'll take a timeout. We'll come back. More Zone next.
By the way,
nailed it, Sterling.
I feel like you need to listen to Center Field, right?
Isn't
that your favorite song?
No,
Dylan,
we're
isn't that
we're not getting
Les's
started
favorite
off on the
song?
wrong foot. We're not getting started off on the wrong foot.
And I already did this bit where I actually played the song coming back from
Yeah.
break.
And
we
What about Centerfold?
We have pushed that
Jay
far
Giles
enough.
band.
That's a good song. It's not my favorite topic, but it's a good song. It's
That's
a
right.
catchy tune.
What's the topic about?
The band. I don't know what you guys are over my head because the music.
No, that's over my head. Cable car. That's the Fray.
See, like I'm saying, it's when it comes to music, I let Sterling handle that part of it. JJ Piccolo and his staff have handled revamping this entire pitching staff, and MLB.com has their list of all the different positional groups and things like that. They also have a list that's out there of the players voting on things, which we can get into about the players voting Bobby Witt the second best player in all of baseball behind Shohei Ohtani, and ahead of Aaron Judge, by the way. Number one,
but the fifth best shortstop.
Well, that was a different. List. That was a list for somebody to get attention, and he got it.
Yeah.
Especially when the players in Major League Baseball vote Bobby Witt the third best defender in all of baseball, not just the third best defensive shortstop, the third best defensive player in all of baseball. But while Bobby is a big part of this team and the face of the franchise, and he and Salvi, but a guy who. Loves playing baseball, but a big reason why the Royals were in the position they were last year is because of the pitching staff. And what I find to be interesting, Les, this year is, you've got these, same three guys in Reagans and Lugo and Waka that are returning. And Lugo gave the commentary a couple of weeks ago of what he was most proud of last year was the innings that he pitched.
Right.
And he's like, as a starter, that's my job, is the innings. So I got all those innings, career high innings. And I'm looking at it, and I'm like, last year at this time, the Royals were talking about how they didn't have power arms in their bullpen. It's like Carlos Hernandez throws 100. It's straight as an arrow, but at least it's a power arm. Angel Zerpa's like the power arm at 96 or 97 that they have as a lefty. And now from July 2023 to March of 2025, you acquire Cole Reagans, you sign Michael Waka, you sign Seth Lugo, you trade for Urseg, you trade for Hunter Harvey, and you sign Estevez. And now you've got three guys that are pretty damn good in your starting rotation. And now you have power in the back end, which allows Schreiber to be a guy that can come in and get a ground ball, not be a setup man in the eighth inning. It allows Zerpa to be a guy who can come in and get you out of a jam if need be, instead of being a guy that's maybe a setup man. It allows Urseg to bounce around if he needs to, like Quatrero was talking about. And I wonder, Les, if it allows the starting staff to go, all right, Skip, yep, I'll come out of the game here. I don't need to go and force it another inning because I'm going to hand it over to the bullpen. That's going to protect this 3-2 lead.
Yeah, winning is everything. And when you get to a point, especially if you go through those seasons where or the patterns where your offense isn't scoring a lot of runs over a certain span, then or your bullpen's getting shellacked and giving up the runs, you're like, nope, I'll stay in, I'll sacrifice it. And we've seen that in years past with the Royals and the pitching as well. So it's really good when you get a pitching staff that gels like that trusts their bullpen, but also trusts their front office, that they got it right. And they've been getting it right. I mean, it's a little preemptive to talk about how, this year is going to be amazing with the pitching staff. I mean, we don't know that. But if everybody stays healthy, at least we know they have the potential to do that for the reasons you're talking about. And then along also with these power arms, you've got guys like Lugo and Waka and Reagans. They've also got really good stuff, too. I mean, they throw their off speed quite a bit. Their curveballs are nasty. I mean, there's so much break in what they do, which makes their, a 95 look 101. With Urseg and those guys, it's more of the slider thing. The only person I worry about is Hernandez, too, because he's just all over the place still. He's playing darts with a shotgun. So I would like to see him hone that in because he may be on his last chance.
I love that. Dylan he's tickled by that line. Dylan's darts with a shotgun.
I just had I just thought about it in my head. And
I'm glad I wasn't drinking coffee. I have never heard that, Les. That was awesome.
Thanks, buddy. Appreciate that.
Did you come up with that?
I've said that for the last 2-3 years.
Have you trademarked it?
I have not trademarked it, so you can steal it, aren't you? You're thinking about stealing it.
TM.
We're trademarking jacked up. So when Caglione hits a home run, that ball got
in specific situations. You can only say that.
How to trademark?
Yes,
something.
Look
under thievery.
Circle, whatever it is.
There's a lot of ones that say they'll do it for me, but I feel like these are scams.
Is that right?
Well, regardless, the pitching staff is in a really good position
absolutely.
to succeed while we're trying to steal trademarks.
I'm really interested to see how Quattrero uses Urseg or Estevez, or if Urseg is the guy that it's like, Ned 7, 8, 9.
Well, these are your roles. Yeah, he's going to be that way at least at the beginning because Estevez hasn't thrown enough innings yet with his back. So once he gets ramped up and he's in season form, then you have to worry about that. And I also noticed this year they've got like 2 off days within that first week, but in years past it's like 4 or 5 off days within the second weeks or the first 2-3 weeks, and you only needed like 4 starters because you could have the first guy come down, but it's not like that this time. So you need your staff to really get involved. But I think that Estevez won't really need. We won't be able to see what he can do until his back is in good shape and his innings are built up.
Yeah, they get the Friday off, and then they get next Thursday off.
Yeah.
So opening day Thursday, Friday off, as happens in Major League Baseball, just in case there's weather, and then the next day off is that next Thursday.
So you probably could roll with 4.
I mean,
for 2 weeks.
You could, but and they may. But, I mean, there was like off day, game, off day, 2 games, off day, game, off day. I mean, there were so many off days in previous, so I feel like only those 2 off days are actually a normal part of the season.
Yeah, they play from when they get that Thursday off. The next day is Friday, April 4th, and their next day off is Monday, April 21st.
Yeah,
so they play 17 straight games after the day off. And you're
Let's
right.
go.
Last year
baseball.
It did feel like
can't wait.
Yeah, last year it did feel like there were a few days off. I'm interested in, and we'll let you go here, Les, because I know you got some breaking the norm to do with truckmovers.com, First Federal Bank of Kansas City, but I hate injuries. I don't root for injuries. Again, I like to say if we can Madden turn injuries off for all years and just
That's what we're talking about on Breaking the Norm today.
Really? Turning off injuries for a season?
Yeah, turning off injuries. Like
we have the
doing
technology.
It in real life. We do.
Awesome.
We do now.
That's awesome. But
Paul McGannon's coming on, former trainer. He developed the technology
to turn off. About dang time.
No doubt.
How does he not bottle that and sell it?
He is now. He trademarked it.
I know.
Well, I'm going to steal it. TM.
Too late.
Well, from now on, that arm won't be jacked up.
There you go.
If somebody's injured there, I'm not sure. I mean, right now, unfortunately, Garrett Cole's. Yeah, so Jack, that. See, when Caglione hits a home run, we'll say, that ball got jacked up. But speaking of the Yankees, the defending American League champions, Garrett Cole out for the year. Luis Gil shut down for at least 3 months with his severe lat strain. Clark Schmidt got good news in his shoulder soreness this morning because he threw the bullpen yesterday. They were concerned. The Yankees were wondering what they would wake up to if 3 of their starters out of their 5 were going to be out for. This is our concern, dude. He got good news, but he's already going to miss the first couple of weeks of the season for the Yankees. And I just, if these injuries, because Garrett Cole is pretty big for the Yankees to not have him. It's going to be Max Fried, Marcus Stroman, Carlos Rodon through the first week or so as their main starters, and that does change things for the Yankees. Buster Olney this morning was getting me excited because he said, while you got the Dodgers in the National League, he's like, the American League is wide open. It's like there's 6 or 7 teams that could win the World Series, and he's like, if the Royals are or win the American League, it's like if the Royals are in the World Series, there's zero surprise for me this year if they are in the World Series.
Agree, and that's not fan speaking.
No, that's
seriously.
Buster Olney.
Yeah. I'm saying even for me, that's not me just being a fan, former player. Legitimately, this pitching staff, and if the offense even remotely shows up, give me one of the corner outfielders dropping bombs. Hunter Renfroe, he had 2 doubles and a triple the other day, and so he's again only spring, I know, but there's signs of it, and so I don't see why that can't happen.
And Bobby Witt with his 400 plate appearances last year with bases empty. You're hoping will be a little bit different.
Yeah, I think Jonathan India is going to help that out.
I think so, too. And if Garcia can get back to 2023 at the bottom of the lineup, that'd be nice to see what Bobby Witt will look like with guys in front of him. And hopefully you get a healthy Vinny. And if you can add in a power bat sitting at number 4 or 5, a lefty from the minors that can hit him, 400, 500 feet. Average exit velocity during spring training was 95 miles an hour. It'd be nice if you could put that guy in the middle of the lineup later on. So it'd be cool. It's just, it sucks for injuries, but that's what teams are dealing with. Garrett Cole's done for the year. Gil is shut down for at least 3 months, and who knows when he'll be back after that. And Clark Schmidt, if he's already going through shoulder soreness, we don't know what the latest is going to be with him. So
it's a part of it.
Yep, absolutely.
long as it's not a part of us.
100%. Les, you're a part of the show, as always, man. Love the conversations and can't wait to continue them.
Yes.
Last week getting it started, but now these hour-long conversations here and talking some baseball. Appreciate you, brother.
Glad to be back with you guys, man. Love it.
Les Norman, Breaking the Norm, truckmovers.com, and First Federal Bank of Kansas City. We will take a timeout, come back, and continue rolling. More Zone next. And breaking the norm, presented by truckmovers.com. First Federal Bank of Kansas City. Going to be talking to him about Jack Caglione, and the plan is to send him to Double-A, have him play first base, continue to advance on the defensive side, and that's one of the things that Matt Quatrero talked about in discussing Jack Caglione's spring training, as they make the announcement yesterday to reassign him. But what he did during the spring training, and Caglione saying, getting better at first base, taking reps and improving there, because that's what he was doing, was playing first base with the in big league camp. He's going to go to Double-A, continue to focus on the bat, continue to get better at first base, which I think shows you that that's what they ultimately believe his future is first base. And then when he gets to Triple-A, when, not if, when he gets to Triple-A, then they will start to get innings in right field, in the outfield. And I think an interesting thing to follow as well is how quickly does he get moved up to Triple-A? And is that connected to if Melendez or Renfroe are either struggling or injured or, in and out of the lineup or something like that, to where it's like, all right, maybe we get Jack up to Triple-A just so we can get him some innings in the outfield. Not that we're going to rush him up here.
Sure.
But we can already start to get some innings in the outfield with him right now, as opposed to we're going to wait till, middle June and we'll move him up to Triple-A to start getting some outfield games.
I think, to me, the most interesting name to watch is still Gavin Cross. Because
Yeah.
I still think Gavin Cross has the inside if you're saying, I don't think Jack's far. I mean, I know this is crazy that we're saying this on March 18th, and it's insane. But I think Gavin Cross has a legit chance to be the first guy called up.
I agree.
And if Annie Rogers, when she said Nick Prado, if Prado's going to get the first crack, I cannot imagine his leash is going to be super long. I can't imagine. I mean, again, if that's the case, then why do you even have him on the roster? I get that, but. Like, if you told me that Prado's the first one released,
I think that would be the case.
And you're saying Gavin Cross gets called up in, let's just say, May.
Left-handed bat, plays outfield.
Yeah, I mean that seems like the easy one, right?
That's right.
And a better outfield more than likely. So
natural outfielder, left-handed bat.
Yeah, and so I think you're probably looking at, to me, if we were placing a bet right now, which are we going to do ZOUs for?
We'll do it next week. We'll do ZOUs next Wednesday.
That could be a fun one. Is when does Gavin Cross get called up, and when does Jack Caglione get called up?
Hey, look, the selection committee is open for suggestions.
But I think
there's a suggestion box at the front desk. Just leave that in there.
Gavin Cross, I think it might even be something like May 1st. Like, does he get called up by May 1st?
Well,
and I think my answer would be yes.
And I'll just let you know the suggestion box. It is anonymous.
Okay.
But I do check video.
Check tape.
I checked video to see who placed that in the. But I can't prove necessarily that you were the one that said that. I'm just saying it's totally anonymous.
That's why you use the hand you don't use to write with when you submit your suggestions, so they can't trace back the handwriting.
Yeah, so you guys would be your dominant hand, and for me it would be my left hand, so that you write with. Or at least for Dylan, it'd be his left hand while throwing right.
Correct.
Dylan's weird. I love that guy.
I appreciate that.
Yeah.
Sort of.
Yeah, that's an odd. It's like
quite a compliment.
Damning with faint praise.
Right.
God, I love him. He's so weird.
Sterling's great at damning with faint praise, for sure.
What? I like your uniqueness, Dylan.
He is.
I like yours as well. You're a very unique guy.
Very unique. Not only unique, you're very
very
unique.
unique.
You take all these things that are unique, and you're a step above them. Bracket of Sound, region number 2 next. Radio 810 WHB. It is region number 2 for the Bracket of Sound on Sports Radio 810 WHB. Region number 2. Yesterday we broke out the boys are playing some ball.
Yeah.
Region, which is represented by the Midwest. 3 more regions to go. 2 regions released with Mick Schaefer tomorrow. Play-in games tonight right here on Sports Radio 810 WHB. Starting at 8 o'clock, our coverage with Westwood 1. The first 4, not North Carolina and San Diego State. It is Texas and Xavier. Chiefs-aholic in action tonight. It's like caviar, only with a Z. Xavier. Texas and Xavier tonight on True TV, but right here on Sports Radio 810 WHB. And, of course, we'll have the playing games for you tomorrow as well with the North Carolina and San Diego State game that'll be played on Wednesday night. All those games in Dayton. And we'll find out if they need even more sites for play-in games once they expand to 153.
Yes.
Just to make it the most difficult bracket ever. 153. I think we're going to go to 75 teams. The number 1 overall seed gets a bye. Just the number 1 overall team doesn't have to play in the first round. That team will never lose to the 16 seed ever because it just moves right on to the round of 32. Like they used to do before they went to 64 when it was at 48 in 84 that there were bye weeks or bye games, that you had teams that had byes. You don't have those anymore. Everybody's going to play the same amount of games except for the play-in. All right, so let's get into the bracket of sound here. I believe we will be – there's a couple regions that we want to save for Mick Schaefer that we think will be enjoyable. Not that this region that we're releasing today isn't one of the best 4 regions we have, because I guarantee it is. And it's also a pretty strong region, too. But there are certain sound bites in other regions. Like, you know what? I kind of want to play that with Mick. I kind of want to have that with Mick. So, today, we will be releasing the East region.
Ooh.
Or, excuse me, the South.
Oh.
Sorry, the South.
Wow.
South.
Dylan.
Not the East, the South. South. Atlanta. South. Otherwise known as the Yes They Can region.
Yes, they can.
The Yes They Can region.
Yes, they can.
We will be releasing today 1 through 16. So, without further ado, or a don't. Further ado or a don't. Let's go with the ended up being the number 1 overall seed in the NCAA tournament bracket of sound in the Yes They Can region, represented in the South. The Auburn Tigers were the number 1 seed, and the number 1 seed is, of course, this sound connected to Auburn.
It's not Giancarlo's fault.
I know.
It's not Giancarlo's fault.
I know. No, you don't.
It's not Giancarlo's fault.
I know.
It's not Giancarlo's fault.
Right.
It's not Giancarlo's fault.
Don't
It's not Giancarlo's fault.
Don't with me, all right? Don't with me. It's not you.
It's not Giancarlo's fault. It's not Giancarlo's fault.
Oh my God.
It's not Giancarlo's fault.
Oh my God, I'm so sorry.
It's just a double play. It happens.
It's not his fault.
Seems so emotional.
Whose fault is it then?
Just rolled over one time. The guy who hit mammoth home runs the rest of the playoffs because he got it all off his chest. Got it all off his chest here. That is
Yes, they can.
Giancarlo Will Hunting, the number 1 overall seed with Bob Costas. Can they roll it? Yes, they can, and it's just the point we were making. It's not Giancarlo's fault. It's not your fault. All right, they are playing the 16 seed, which is Alabama State and St. Francis. And with Alabama State and St. Francis playing tonight, That game starting at 5:40. Let's go with Alabama State, the 16 seed, represented by this sound.
You've always kind of battled the styling part of it. Your hair is kind of fine. Doesn't really do what you want to do.
There's a shot at me out of today.
No, I had the same
been a while.
problem.
Good to see you too. Your hair's always kind of sucked. Welcome back, though. Good to see you, brother.
People used to cut my hair. Used to, I love cutting
Plus,
your hair.
there's your breath. You know. Scent of ass? Is that what that?
All right, come down off the cross.
Come down off the cross.
Scent of ass.
All right, come
How
down
is
off
that
the
a
cross.
16 play-in game? That one is strong.
It's a strong region. It's a strong 68-team field. If you've got a problem, go talk to Bubba.
That was 3. That could have been cut up into 3 different parts, and I loved it.
Bubba Cunningham thought not enough quad 1 wins.
Scent of ass is strong.
St. Francis playing the Scent of Ass Alabama State, but St. Francis represented by this sound.
Not good.
No.
Like decidedly ungood.
Cynthia gave us
it's a good one.
A phrase we've used quite often since that conversation with Cynthia of decidedly ungood.
Decidedly.
They are not good. They are decidedly ungood.
Yeah.
I love the line. It's great, and it's right to the point of explaining how good they are. Decidedly ungood. Louisville may have gotten screwed in their seeding. They are the number 8 seed. They are playing in Lexington, but the number 8 seed Louisville Cardinals represented with this sound.
By the way, did you hear where Chiefsaholic has got to pay the teller $10.8 million?
$10 million, yeah. How about that?
That restitution is huge.
Dravetta, telling you, man, he's a ninja. He will just, he's an assassin. He will sneak in from time to time and make the bracket a sound. Quite often, by the way.
The sweet nectar of restitution.
Yes, that's another honcho heading to jail. Restitution is huge. Well done. All right, number 9, Creighton. Facing off against Louisville, number 9, Creighton is connected to this sound.
We are thrilled to welcome in a 6-time first team.
Yes,
All
sir.
NFL selection. A
Six
Super Bowl
times?
champion. 6 times.
6 times.
Future gold jacket wearer. He's got a podcast that apparently is doing fairly well. And all that said, Jason Kelsey is wearing a shirt he got at the mall because he left his travel bag in the truck. Left the bag in the truck.
My fits my belly now. I've lost a little bit of weight, but my tits are still struggling.
Hey, the fact that a Hall of Fame center can shop at Lululemon, that's big, man. That's a big accomplishment.
Oh, that was Jason Kelsey's debut, by the way.
Yeah.
The first thing Jason Kelsey said on ESPN's Monday Night Countdown was, "My tits are not doing so well."
Yeah, good for him.
Fits my
honest
belly.
man.
That's the 8-9 matchup. The number 5 seed, Michigan, the Wolverines, connected with this sound.
Stan and I have a lot of the same logic there, and I obviously did not copy it from him, and I've got an alibi because I was looking up Dick Hammers this morning.
Oh, damn it, that should have been the dismount.
We got 10 seconds.
Oh, no! Still got 10 seconds. I don't think we could do enough Dick Hammers in 10 seconds.
Sterling can.
Matthew.
How was I the responsible one in that clip?
Well done, Matt Derrick. No, Dick Hammer's a name.
I get it, Richard.
Okay, well, that's fine.
The cousin of, was it the cousin of Sam Darnold, or am I
Something like that,
Something
yeah.
like that.
Something along those. So Dick Hammer is Michigan. UC San Diego is the 12 seed, connected with this sound.
Pete Sweeney.
That's me.
That's
Sweens.
It is important with your name.
Yeah.
You know, you no doubt.
I was going to say the rest of them is here too.
Well, there you go. There's that one.
Dude,
Is there an apostrophe in
this is
there?
Radio MA?
Where does it go? I mean,
oh my God.
Is this what you said?
This is Radio MA? What are we doing? I used to go by Peter when I was a kid. Peter Sweeney, King of the Weenies. Nightmare fuel. I hated it.
And that is marked.
Oh, luckily that's going up against Dick Hammer. So Pete Sweeney against Dick Hammer in the first round. That is one hell of a 5-12 matchup.
That one is huge.
Yep. Guard play. A lot of penetration there through the lane with the guard play. Let's go and move down the bracket. We move to the 4 seed, Texas Agriculture and Mechanical University. The number 4 seed, they are playing in Denver, and it is connected to this piece of sound.
Especially thinking of how the media is in Kansas City. How are Lebo going to get to the bottom of it?
Yeah, that's a good one. That one is very
Lebo.
That was so good it made the new intro for Lebo.
Made the intro with Lebo. Believe me, there was lots of discussion in the selection committee room about that one. If it's a 4-seed or higher, considering that it is now part of Lebo's intro. It's that now big of a piece of sound with the show. The number 13 seed, Yale. Yale facing off against A&M, and Yale is connected to this sound. Post-game stuff like that. There's a drum line and everything. That's what I learned this weekend is the Marching Ravens. Sterling, what did you learn?
Steve
Smith.
It did, didn't it? Ravens playing a sad song there.
Yeah. That's, I don't know what instrument she played. The flute or?
Playing taps, I think.
Dylan. Top rope.
That was great, Dylan.
Steve Smith and the... Sterling, what did you learn over the weekend? What did you learn over the weekend, Sterling? Oh, darn it, I forgot that there was that pause. Oh, I forgot that we let it breathe there. Can we play? Let's play the whole thing again. Let's play the whole thing again because I forgot that we all just moved away from our microphones.
That was like a 10-second
I actually
pause.
thought you were saying, I didn't even realize that was part of the audio.
No. That's I remember it now. We all moved away from the microphones of just like wanting to give a standing ovation to Dylan.
The pause was so long, we had a conversation with us three just there, and then it came back. That was incredible.
Let's hear Yale again. Post-game stuff like that. There's a drum line and everything. That's what I learned this weekend is the Marching Ravens. Sterling, what did you learn?
Took a turn.
It did, didn't it?
Ravens playing a sad song there.
Yeah. That's I don't know what instrument she played. The flute or
playing taps, I think.
Sterling, what did you learn over the weekend? We all just looked around like, well done, Dylan. That deserved to breathe a little bit.
That steak wasn't just well done. That was congratulations. Thank you.
That was nice. That's Yale. Strong 13-4 potential upset there with Yale and A&M. We slide down the bracket to number 6, Ole Miss. Ole Miss, number 6 seed, playing in Milwaukee, and it is connected to this soundbite.
Did they ever tell you about getting all those shots before you go overseas?
I did not hear that.
Oh my God!
What did you?
You stand in line. The line's probably 100 long, and you stand in there nuts to butts.
Oh wow!
Yeah.
And they give you. They got one guy on the right, one guy on the left, and a doctor in the middle, and they give you a shot on so you can go overseas. I got up that doctor, and that doctor looked at me. He says, "What's the matter, son?" He said, "Are you kind of bashful?" I said, "What do you mean?" He said, "Well, your deal keeps popping straight up." He says, "If I had that," he said, "I'd let her go ahead and stand up because I kept pushing it down." And he said, "I'd go ahead and let her stand out." I said, "Doc, I would too, but it belongs to that some behind me."
There it is. Oh boy.
Wow. You got to be real careful.
Well, see?
Tight line.
Yeah, see?
Yeah, so in the Army, when you would get your shots to go overseas, St. John Sr., nuts to butts, as it belongs to that behind me.
Wow.
It's a strong 6 seed. Like I said, the field is really strong this year. It's a really strong tournament this year.
It's a big 6 seed.
Yeah, it's a
I'll be rooting for North Carolina or San Diego State. Heavy.
Let's go with in fact, that's the play-in game tomorrow night at San Diego State and North Carolina. San Diego State is the 11 seed play-in, and it has a chance to play against Ole Miss if it wins tomorrow night, and it's represented by this sound.
Let's talk to Mike McFarland. Mac, congratulations, Grandpa.
Thanks, guys. Yeah, 4 granddaughters. My boys need to find some pop in their back.
Wow.
I think Steven,
wow.
The wow, yeah, it almost just enhances
Boys
the
need to find
wow
some
clip.
pop in their bat. The San Diego State in action tomorrow night against North Carolina. Here is North Carolina.
I don't know. I like to see good body language out there. Everyone's competitive, but this is when you need to rally around all your team leaders.
Yeah, Tom Brady feeling like the body language wasn't good enough for the team leaders in the sideline. Tom Brady, a big proponent of good body language on the sideline from your leaders.
Is that the most hypocritical comment ever?
I think it was like the first game, too. It's like the first game. Like, that's what we're going with, is the body language matters? Okay.
Tom Brady, noted great body language guy.
That's exactly right. That's North Carolina, San Diego State tomorrow night in the play-in game. Number 3, Iowa State, the Cyclones, playing in Milwaukee as well. Number 3 seed, the Cyclones, Iowa State connected to this. Or a feel of, okay, this guy's starting inside. I can feel that behind me. I'm not going to do it. I'm not even going to take your thing. That was your thing. That was your thing. I'm not going to mess with your thing. Oh, yeah, that's right. That's a nice little surprise. I knew it was there. I just didn't think it was that thick.
That is a lot, though. I did try to get as much in as I could in 2 minutes.
If you're the Royals, you just, a little hawk to a spin on that thing and just move right on.
And all he did was touch it in a different spot. I'm about to grab between your legs and tell you to cough. I don't care if you're wearing shoes or not.
What the?
I have no idea what any of those were connected with.
What the hell was the last one?
I don't know what it was connected with.
Tell you to cough? It doesn't matter if you're wearing shoes or not?
If you're wearing shoes or not. I'm assuming it has to do with something going to the doctor and maybe you worrying about which shoes you have on. I'm not sure. That's Iowa State, 3 seed. Iowa State Cyclones. They are playing Lipscomb in the first round. And the number 14 seed, Lipscomb, is connected to this sound.
I hope they murder the Bengals.
Murder?
Yes.
Wow.
Ray Lewis style. Allegedly.
Wow. Oh my God. Get in the limo.
Allegedly. Thank God he said allegedly.
Allegedly, of course.
Jake just, that's what he feels about playing the Bengals. All right, that's Lipscomb and Iowa State, the 3-14 matchup.
We need Iowa State to win big.
We head to the final 4 teams in the Yes They Can region, which is the South, and it is a matchup with Marquette and New Mexico. The 7 seed Marquette playing in Cleveland, and it is connected to this sound.
It drives Brian Haney crazy. He gets so mad when 18-year-olds come up and double bird us and tell us to get the hell out of their town. I'm like, and he wants to fight him or whatever, and I'm like.
He said, "I will rock blank you up." Hey wants a punch in the face. Hey gets a punch in the face. I'll give you a face-rocking 2-hand jam. You will get both the hoop and the harm.
That's so good. The hoop and the harm got me, man.
Oh.
That's one of Brian Haney's. He gets the hoop and you will get both the hoop and the harm. Well done, Curtis.
Strong 7.
Yes, it's a good 7 seed with Marquette. They can move up and down the floor. New Mexico playing Marquette, the 10 seed there in the South region in Cleveland. The 10 seed connected to this sound.
Was it just a matter of command, location, selection, anything specific?
No, I thought it generally sucked. I didn't think it was a specific suck. I thought it was like an all-encompassing type of suck. So, we're going to try and rectify that. But for right now, I'm going to be pretty pissed about it.
Pete, where do you kind of go from here? Is it looking at tape? Is it going through mechanics? Where do you kind of go from here?
You tell me. I've tried that. If you got an answer, I'd love to hear. Just, not going to let it beat me up for, I'll maybe give it till 10. It's 9:44 right now. We'll give it 16 minutes of salt, and then we'll, get back on the bump and figure it out.
Is that Peter Fairbanks?
Pete Fairbanks, nice job.
Yeah.
Pete Fairbanks. It wasn't a specific suck. It was an all-encompassing suck.
He's a Missouri guy, too, wasn't he? A Mizzou guy?
So Pete Fairbanks, that is the 10 seed, 7-10 matchup there in the Yes They Can region in the South. The final matchup, the 2 versus 15. The 2 seed, the Michigan State Spartans, that I have going to the Final Four in my bracket specifically. But the 2 seed Michigan State represented by this sound.
Who's the last time to beat them, though? Who's the last time to beat the Chiefs? These dudes, you know what I mean? They did that.
Yeah.
So it's okay.
Raiders
it's cool.
were feeling themselves last offseason.
We'll see them again. They got to see us. We got to see them.
He's not even coaching there
and
anymore.
we already given the recipe of how to do it. These guys know what it's like to hate the color red.
15-2 with the recipe.
We saw red, we hate red. That's right. It was on that kind of level, right? And I told him there's a difference between dislike and hatred. There's a hatred for the Chiefs. You got to truly dislike and hate this individual team. 100%. We'll be cool now in the offseason. We see it. We're going to shake hands. We're out in a place like this. 100%. But between that green lines, between that white lines and the grass, it was on. You got the Jordan rules, and I'm calling now from now on, as long as I'm here, the Patrick Mahomes rules.
As long as he's there.
Used to whoop his anytime he came to the hole.
1 year, 2 games.
Elbows, feeling them, love taps. We touched them. We in the head, mentally, physically, emotionally, spiritually. I'm touching you.
Spiritually.
So I show those guys Jordan getting his whooped. We're going. We're ready. And then you see Patrick Mahomes looking around. But the best part about that game, Max knows it. You know, we did a great job in the fourth quarter in the red zone on 4th down when they kept going for it. Patrick put his cape on, and these guys wouldn't let go. I mean, they were relentless.
I'm here. I'm here. I'm here. Yeah.
No, we addressed as a team yesterday. We nipped it in the butt. It's over with.
He'll get handled when it gets handled.
We don't spend a lot of time here with puppets, you know, so it's we try to do our work and try to get better.
He'll get handled when it gets handled.
So one team went to the Super Bowl, the other team had their coach fired. I don't know. It was a fun offseason. Raiders loved themselves last offseason, though. They really were feeling themselves last offseason off that one win on Christmas Day, which got the Chiefs so fired up they won a Super Bowl. So pissed about losing to you.
They have the recipe.
The recipe,
all
they came close
expired.
twice to beating the Chiefs. They came close twice, and one of them later on. And that coach that has the recipe, maybe he left the recipe. Maybe he passed it down like they do with generations of families passing down great recipes.
It's one of those Jell-O recipes that you immediately
Right.
throw away. It's like, why is there ground beef and Jell-O combined?
It's like my great-grandmother made this pie back in the Great Depression, and we still make the pie all the time. It's been passed down. Antonio Pierce had the recipe to beat the Chiefs, and he passed it down to Pete Carroll. That's going to have to figure it out, I guess, because Pete Carroll has no clue how to win games. The 15 seed Bryant is connected to this piece of sound, wrapping up the South region. Here's Bryant.
Greatest satisfaction in hitting.
Willie Wilson. He deserved it.
Why?
Because he was yapping from the top of the step of the dugout.
Oh, really? What
Yeah.
was he saying?
He thought I was trying to hit him on purpose. I hit him twice with 2 slow curveballs, probably about 68 miles an hour.
And that wasn't on purpose. That wasn't intentional.
You think? If I'm going to hit somebody, I'm not
I
going
don't know, man.
I'm
You-
not
you're
going to hit him
talking
with a
about how
slow
much you like hitting
curveball.
He's going to hit him with a slow fastball.
Yeah, slow fastball.
It was a nice drop in by Nick. I'm not going to hit him with a slow curveball. I'm hit him with a slow fastball. The most satisfaction he took in his career of hitting somebody was Willie Wilson. He was chirping from the dugout, so I hit him. I'm not going to hit you with a slow curveball, dude. All right, there we go. That's Bryant versus Michigan State. That is the South region, the Yes They Can region in the bracket of sound.
Yes, they can.
2 regions down, 2 regions to go. We'll release the final ones tomorrow with Mick Schaefer in the 1 o'clock hour. Both 2 regions tomorrow in the 1 o'clock hour with one Joseph.
What's his name?
Nicholas.
Yeah, Nicholas.
Schaefer. It's Michael, but whatever. Mick.
No.
Joseph Mick Schaefer. Joey Mick. Joe M. J.M. Schaefer. JMS.
J.M. Schaefer sounds like he owns a car dealership.
That's right, yeah. He should be like, he should have his own like clothing line like Joseph A. Bank.
Yeah.
So where'd you get
Maybe
that?
an
Did you get that
author.
shirt from J.M. Schaefer? Yeah, it's a new.
Well, car dealers are in the family, as we know with Ashley.
Ashley Schaefer. Yeah, there we go.
Great call. Great call. Just passing it down. It's just a different, same last name, different first name. You know what I mean? All right, we'll take a timeout. We'll come back, continue rolling. The West Virginia governor had some things to say about West Virginia not making the tournament. John Calipari had some news on an injured player that made me crack up because I wonder if this is the first time Arkansas has heard this little piece of fun. John Calipari, which is one of his go-tos. And then we'll talk a little bit about the Bengals and what they are looking at with the T. Higgins, Jamar Chase contracts, and getting close to an extension with Trey Hendrickson and the money they're spending, and if it's worth it. We'll do that on the other side of the break. We'll continue until 2 o'clock as we roll along on this Tuesday. Tonight at 8 o'clock, we've got the Texas and Xavier game for you. Play in right here on Sports Radio 810 WHB with Westwood One. More Zone right after this. All right, we continue right here on Sports Radio 810 WHB. I appreciate the people earlier in the show that tried to correct me. And then as well in the end of the previous segment that corrected me.
You're welcome.
I don't appreciate Sterling for waiting until 1:30 to correct me.
He knew the entire time.
Because, see, on the format here, I have 8 o'clock NCAA tournament first four, North Carolina versus San Diego State. But see, the stupid bracket that I've been looking at that has every single tip-off time and the day and the network that it's on has listed here Tuesday, Alabama State versus St. Francis, which is tonight.
Yeah, that's correct, yeah.
Following that game, Texas Xavier. Tomorrow night, American versus Mount St. Mary's, followed by San Diego State and North Carolina.
Sure.
So I appreciate going to break at, 1:26 after we started the show talking about this, that Sterling's like, hey, man, North Carolina plays tonight, not tomorrow night.
Hey,
I know how earlier today
when
we literally had a conversation on the air together about North Carolina playing tonight or tomorrow, I just wanted you to know
I knew
at
they played tonight, but
that North Carolina is in action tonight.
I didn't want to correct you. You felt so strongly about it, and you already messed up, and then you tried to, like,
I didn't, but
you were correct originally, and then you re-corrected your original correctness. And I was
should have just paid attention to the format, because the format that I wrote down earlier today was right, except this. And now this whole thing is a lie. I don't know what to believe. I don't know. I said that with Adam Teicher that Michigan State tipped off at 9 o'clock. They actually might be playing tonight. I don't know. I have no idea. I don't think they are, but this stupid bracket that has every single tip-off time, I'm like, wow, this is awesome. I finally found a bracket that has every single tip-off time and network, and it's awesome. Like, literally the first night of games is wrong. Right?
I just
right
felt
from jump,
bad.
It's wrong.
It's like, do you want to correct him? And
so I appreciate those that texted in earlier that I went back and
I didn't even
found.
tell you on air. I told you off air.
Would have been better if you told me on air, though.
Well,
I don't know,
I didn't want to make you seem like a dumbass.
Let's just say like 3 hours ago.
Well, I didn't want to make you feel like a dumbass. It was kind of more or less what it was.
Makes me feel like a dumbass to say it 4 times in the show.
Yeah.
And never actually look at the scoreboard for tonight, because why would I need to look at the NCAA scoreboard tonight?
Well, you're welcome.
Yeah, but what's the point of looking at the NCAA scoreboard tonight? Oh, I see it now. That's St. Francis and Alabama State versus North Carolina and San Diego State. That's cool. That's neat. Awesome. What about Texas Xavier that's supposed to be playing tonight? Because that's what this stupid bracket says.
Anyway. Are you looking at it wrong, Jason?
Right
Are
there.
you?
Tuesday.
Let me see it. Let me see it.
Tuesday.
Let me see it.
Tuesday. Definitely says Tuesday. See? I don't know what to trust now. I don't know. I don't know. Do I trust that bracket, or do I trust everybody else and also the NCAA?
This also looks like it's from the NCAA .com.
Yeah.
Like this looks like a legit.
Yeah, it's there. Yeah,
thing.
It's right there, and they got it wrong.
So who's correct? ESPN or NCAA? We'll find out tonight. At 8:10, tune in.
We'll find out if the NCAA.com's bracket is right or if the NCAA's tournament is right.
8:10 p.m. Right here on Sports Radio 810. Find out to see which 11 seed play-in team is playing.
I'll tell you this much. If I'm North Carolina and San Diego State, I hope I got the right time. Because if they both just no-show tonight, what happens? I mean, what do you do? They just both.
It's like in softball when your team name is bye week, so that way teams don't show up because you get an auto win. Yeah.
Perfect name. Perfect name. It's so good. Although, what's the point of playing softball if like half the time you show up and you make your plans? That's good. It's the friends we make along the way.
Yeah.
Both teams had fun. The other team had fun not being there, and you had fun, getting a win and drinking some brews with the boys. So that's coming up tonight. North Carolina is playing tonight, and West Virginia is not playing tonight.
Mm-hmm.
Governor Morrissey for West Virginia held a press conference yesterday in the afternoon. In which the podium that he was talking to said NCAA, but National Corrupt Athletic Association.
Just in case anyone was, unsure of which side they were on.
Yeah. So from the time on Sunday night when they found out that West Virginia was not in the tournament to yesterday mid-afternoon, they put together this sign to put on the front of the podium that says National Corrupt Athletic Association. Here's the governor weighing in on what's going to happen now with West Virginia being left out.
West Virginia deserved to be in the NCAA tournament. This was a miscarriage of justice and robbery at the highest levels. Now, it's being reported by a number of outlets that Cunningham had a significant bonus incentive, at least $70,000 to get into the tournament, arguably more if they advanced, with more incentives on the way. And I want folks to let that sink in for just a minute. Any way you slice it, this thing reeks of corruption.
So it's robbery at the highest level. It's corruption. West Virginia deserved to be in. And not only is he out there just complaining, they're putting action to this. The Attorney General is officially opening up an investigation into the selection committee.
Wow, tax money well spent, huh?
I'll tell you what, man. I'm gonna guess, and I don't know this for a fact because I haven't followed Governor Morrissey's career, but I'm gonna guess he's never complained about government waste before. I'm gonna guess it's probably never come out of his mouth that that our tax dollars or something need to go to something better. And yes, don't worry, it's just the West Virginia tax dollars that are going to the AG opening up. Couldn't this be federal, though? I mean, this is across state lines. Like, this is West Virginia, North Carolina. It's across state lines. This is federal. This is federal. These are state universities and a lot of money that's going into all these schools and the NCAA tournament and across. This is federal. I feel like maybe we need to we probably need to look into this. There should be more attorneys general to be looking into these whatever's apostrophe s or possessive plural, whatever, should be looking into this because I don't know, the government waste seems to be a big topic right now.
Who would have thought that a dude whose name is Morrissey would be a whiner and complainer?
Isn't that ironic?
If you are a Smiths fan, the band, you would understand that the guy's Morrissey. That's his whole shtick.
Well, I was just going to go with ironic, or I don't know, but I was going to go with that one. With Morrissey.
Morrissey was a singer of the Smiths, like the whole thing was, woe is me, I'm Morrissey. Oh.
Like the Donald Ducks.
I kind of like the Smith, full transparency, good band.
Good.
But like the whole thing is complaining, right? That's dude.
It's all performance art, though.
It's all performance art, Morrissey.
They're not going to open up an investigation into the selection committee.
Dog, maybe
what's the attorney general going to go, hey, want to make sure that, I'm calling to investigate. Yeah, no, thank you. No. Like, it's official investigative. Like, we're official. I'm an attorney general. Cool, man. I'm an athletic director at university. What the hell? Yeah, but I want to know that the protocols were followed. Yeah, they were followed. But there's a conflict of interest. Yeah, I had to excuse myself. I had to be out of the room.
I'm with, like, is it dumb that North Carolina's in instead of West Virginia? I think we can all get behind that. Sure, okay, fine. But win more than 19 games.
Don't lose to Colorado in the first round. The 16 seed in the Big 12, don't lose to them in the first round.
You went 19-13 in a down year in the Big 12.
Mm-hmm.
Sorry. I get they've had some big wins. I'm not, but the fact that you're complaining because you were the what would that be, the 69th best? Well, but take away some of the
I know, all the at-large bids,
but the 45th best team. Like, congratulations.
Yeah,
be better.
Right,
like I understand if you went 26 and what would that be, 26-7 or 26-6 in the Big 12 and got left out. Okay, yeah, conspiracy theory. I'm in. I'm on board. You went 19-13. You went 500 in a down Big 12. Your BPI is lower than Oklahoma, Texas, and North Carolina. Do I think BPI is the only way you should look at this? Hell no. But if you bring this up to any committee, okay, look at the BPI. They are 25th. You are 51st. Sorry. Didn't make it. Win more games.
Nicole Auerbach writes with this whole controversy again, as the governor being a clown, not really a surprise, but Nicole Auerbach talked to the president of the NCAA, Charlie Baker, and again, I'm not a conspiracy theorist either, so I don't think one is directly correlation causation. I think the result could be born from an organic controversy. And what I mean is Charlie Baker talking to Nicole Auerbach and people complaining about teams left out. He goes, it's been going on forever. It's actually one of the reasons why I think if we come up with a way to make the math work and the geography and the logistics work on expanding the tournament from 68 to 76, I think it's a conversation worth having. I don't think Bubba Cunningham and the selection committee said, let's put in North Carolina and leave out West Virginia so that people will complain enough that they'll be okay to expand the tournament to 76. But it could be a plan or at least, I don't know, strategy that's born from something that could have been more organic. That, hey, you're complaining about West Virginia. If we went to 76, here's the problem. When they went from 64 to 68, what'd they say? Well, people have been complaining about the 65th team. 65th team in the tournament. It's always a complaint. Well, now we're going to 68, and nobody's going to complain about 69 team in the tournament. Nobody is going to do that because they were complaining about, there's 4 more teams now. Sorry, win more games. Now you'd be the 5th. You wouldn't even be the first 4 out anymore of the tournament. You'd be the 5th. You'd be the next 4 out. You can't complain. Now we're complaining about 69 and 70. And Charlie Baker says, well, if we go to 76 teams, then the 77th team and their governor will complain that they didn't get in the tournament. 77. Go
What's
whatever you
softer,
want.
the Ohio State guy who was like, we're going to file a petition
Yes,
for no flag planting and it's a felony, or this West Virginia? I mean,
or Governor Morrissey. Yes, the answer is yes.
Yeah,
What's
the answer
softer?
is but I just don't understand. You didn't win 20 games. Like, I get it. Do I think you have a better resume than Texas, Oklahoma, North Carolina, and probably Xavier? Yeah, I think you do.
I think they should have been in,
but it's not. But it's not like my entire takeaway from this year's March Madness or heading into it was, 1, clearly you don't need to expand. Clearly, and 2, if you get left out, you can't complain.
Well, and also, I would much rather discuss seed lines than who was left out. I'd rather talk about, Louisville has a real beef about being the number 8 seed. Because if they're a 5 seed and they're playing a 4 in the next round, they might be playing it next week. But if they win against Creighton, a good team, and a bad matchup for Kalkbrenner, who, big men have beaten up on Louisville this year, and Kalkbrenner is a damn fine big man for Creighton who might have 25 in the game on Thursday, they got to beat Creighton. And if they do, then they get Auburn, the number 1 seed, to try to get to the second weekend. As opposed to, well, you're a 5 seed, you would get, A&M, or you'd get Arizona, or you'd get Purdue, or you'd get Maryland. Better than Auburn. Yeah. But that's part of, the seeding when it, I'd much rather talk about why this team got slid down. Why is Memphis a 5 seed? How is Memphis with all these? We looked at all these advanced analytics. We were using some of these new predictive measures and metrics that are out there. Oh, really? So why is Memphis a 5 seed? Well, we were using Torvik. We use Torvik a lot. Oh, really? Because Memphis is number 60 in Torvik, and they're a 5 seed. So, I'd much rather talk about that because I actually don't think it's going to be an upset when Colorado State beats Memphis. I don't think it's an upset when that happens.
No.
When Colorado State's playing in the round of 32 against either Maryland or Grand Canyon, I don't think we're going to look at it and go, oh, my God, 5-12 upset. No, the 12 seed is favored.
Yeah.
Colorado State is favored over Memphis. So people can complain about this team didn't get in, that team didn't get in. It's performance art from West Virginia is what it is. One more in the NCAA tournament. This is impacting KU. Boogie Fland, one of the best players on Arkansas, was playing phenomenal basketball through the SEC season early on and then broke his hand, was out for the year. People could say one of the reasons why Arkansas is a 10 seed and not higher, that they would have been a higher seeded team if Boogie did not, hurt his hand or break his hand. Arkansas and John Calipari announcing that he is going to be available to play against Kansas. Don't know how many minutes he'll play, but here was his SEC season. 12 points against Tennessee, 14 against Ole Miss, 15 against Florida, 19 against LSU, and then he broke his hand against Missouri and scored just the 4 points there. And he's been out since then. But one of the great Calipari lines, he was talking about Boogie Fland and in his press conference, and then saying that, finding out that he's probably going to play. He said maybe 15 to 20 minutes. They'll see what he ends up playing. We'll find out. But he was asked about the progress of Boogie throughout this time, and Calipari said, when my guys get injured, I don't coach them anymore. I don't even know their names. I'm just focused on the guys that I have. And the athletic trainer, our doctor, came up to me yesterday and said, hey, he's going through shoot-arounds. He could play this week. I just found out. Such a liar. People in Arkansas would be like, wow, he's just so focused on that. Like, dude, is one of his go-to lines. Like, that guy's injured. I have no idea. I have no idea what's going on with him. He's going to play tomorrow?
I actually take a scholarship away. I said you no longer have a scholarship and you no longer can get NIL.
No idea. News to me. You guys are hearing he's going to play? Well, I got to find. I haven't talked to the doctor yet, so I don't know because I'm not around him.
You know
I don't
what?
care about the injuries. When he's ready to play, they come and tell me he's ready to play.
You know what Cal says?
Oh, so absurd.
Veach handles that.
Well, Rick. I haven't talked to Rick yet. He's not in. But for him to say this was Sunday's press conference, I saw it last night. But Sunday's press conference of saying, well, he just talked to me yesterday. We just got back and everything, but he just came to me yesterday, said he's going through warm-ups and shoot-around and everything. You didn't know your player was going through like shoot-arounds and stuff and warm-up. He wasn't doing those things while you're getting ready for it. Like he's going through some of that stuff. You didn't know that. It's just so absurd with Calipari. Like, again, that's performance art for him. It's performative for him too.
Yeah.
I don't even know what that accomplishes. Like, what do you gain by saying, I had no idea. Like, I don't even coach him anymore. He's injured. I don't know. I don't even know his name. I'm coaching the guys that are there. Doctor came up yesterday, said he should be good to go on Thursday. So I guess we'll have Boogie Fland on Thursday. News to me. We might have our best player. Could be the best player we have. Turns out available for the tournament. What a nice surprise for us. No idea. I was going to lay my head on my pillow tonight, not even thinking about the matchup against Kansas with Boogie Fland. Then the doctor said he's going to be available. Shocker. No idea. This is crazy. And West Virginia's governor is like, I want to open up an investigation into Calipari if that's true or not, because I got some issues here. We got some tax dollars we need to waste. All right, we continue right here on Sports Radio 810 WHB. Tonight on Sports Radio 810, we've got the NCAA tournament first for 8 o'clock tonight. North Carolina and San Diego State. That's right. Some would say Texas and Xavier. They would be wrong.
Who would say that?
Nobody. And if somebody heard them say
dumb bastard.
If somebody heard them say that, they would immediately then correct them if they knew who actually was playing tonight.
Well, I felt bad, or that person probably felt bad trying to correct the...
Let me just say this. A true friend would correct them if they knew that was wrong, that somebody that a different team. Yeah, so that's if somebody were to say it wrong and a true friend knew that was wrong, they would correct them. It's like telling somebody you got a booger in your nose. You know what I mean? Like you got something in your teeth.
Jason.
True friend what's that?
Jason.
What's that?
You got a booger.
Which is essentially you telling me that North Carolina San Diego State's playing tonight?
You got a Cousins in your nose.
I got a boogie.
You got a McFarland in your nose.
Hello, Mr. President, Mr. Marcus Cousins. News that I don't think this is a surprise. I think this is probably what most people thought would happen, but I am told the expectation is that Mark Mitchell will be starting on Thursday.
Oh, baby.
Versus Drake. So.
Oh, baby.
We talked about it'll be a big game for Mark Mitchell. Mark Mitchell went around earlier than I thought he would, or I would have taken him in the player pool round, player pool draft last night, because I think he could have 25.
I'm gonna call him Biz Marquee because oh baby, you got what I need, and that need is Mark Mitchell putting up 20 and 12.
But see, and you said you were just a friend, but yet a friend would have told me a long time ago that Texas and Xavier don't play tonight, that it is in fact North Carolina San Diego State. So maybe Biz Marquee was wrong. So there you go. Mark Mitchell expected to start on Thursday. Program next.